Hello yet again. It is 2023. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Woo!
We got a whole new season of anime coming to you fresh, hot, piping. And so we, of course, are going to bring you all of our takes on all the new shows. Maybe not all of them, most of the new shows, a lot of the new ones that aren't sequels, at least. And we are going to get started. But first, it's been a few episodes. We're going to go through our introductions again, just in case that you might not know who we are, so you can put a face to a name. And by face, we mean a weird cartoon avatar. So we'll start left to right. Juan?
Hi, my name is Juan, go by Tex-Mex. What we decided on, what we classify ourselves as, what kind of, fans we are. I really like action shows. I really like, shonen. But, really, I watch a lot of everything. As long as it's good, I'll watch it. But there's also some trash that I'll watch that the others don't. So,
higher tolerance for trash.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Chris, and I would say that I am kind of a jack of all trades as well. I don't necessarily gravitate to certain genres, but I really value high production values, good animation, and unique settings. And so a lot of the more repetitive anime tend to get on my nerves, but I will still watch anything as long as it's good, I guess.
I'm Logan. I like weird stuff and stuff with really unique visual presentations. I am also the show's manga correspondent. Every season I go through and I read the first chapter at least of every manga that is being adapted so that I have some kind of context for it. So you'll hear me talk a lot about manga in this show.
And hi, I'm Tim. I'm the one that actually watches everything in this group. Obviously I tend to like the better high quality shows, but all anime is worth watching, I believe.
Yeah, I do not agree. Tim
does the hard work out here. He's out in the mines, shoveling for content.
Watching
all right.
The real garbage.
So we're gonna go ahead and get into this. We got a lot of shit to go through today. We're gonna go with a general rating system for each of these, kind of based on how we feel, how we are going to approach these shows, and if we're interested in watching them. So that scale goes as follows. If it's a skip, it's a skip. We don't recommend you watch it. We're not going to watch it. Maybe the next one up is the 1 episode rule. Maybe we want to check out 1 episode to see if there's anything interesting going on, but otherwise our hopes are maybe not as high. Then there's the 3 episode rule, which is kind of the classic anime standard. If we think there's enough going on that we want to check out 3 full episodes before making a decision. And then finally the last one is just we're all in. We're watching this no matter what. This is one that we're excited about. So without further ado, we're going to get started. The first one on our list is Ars no Kyoujuu. So Ars no Kyoujuu is a new fantasy from Asahi Productions. This one, or maybe it's more of a sci-fi. So you can read the summary. There's giant beasts that created the lands. Humans stole the lands, and then they started eating people because the humans are invading. So it's this kind of big action fantasy. I watched the preview for this one. It looked interesting. I remember there being a hot brown woman with animal ears, and I was like, hell yeah, now we're talking. And then there was some annoying lolly girl with a really high-pitched voice who was doing the annoying lolly girl trope thing, and I was like, boo, poor. So really, who's to say? I think that there are some interesting things going on with this one enough that I am going to probably check it out. This is a new director. He's done maybe 1 or 2 other things. But the screenwriter has done some good stuff. And also Danganronpa 3, which my friends tell me is maybe not the best.
But I mean, not direction-wise.
This is the writer. It was the head
this
writer.
Is the writer?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
This is the writer.
Never mind. Never mind. Danganronpa 3 writing bad.
But he also did some of Akudama Drive, which is another original anime recently that's actually really good.
Okay, so. Maybe he redeemed himself. Who knows? Okay, shit. Okay.
He did Kakino Astra 2.
Yeah, which is an adaptation, but it was a good adaptation.
What show?
Kanata no Astra.
Kanata no Astra.
The sci-fi
one.
Oh,
that the one that I dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped it, but he's dumb, so it's fine.
I mean, this is my first time seeing this here. It's original, so
yeah,
there's more credence to it, just because There's nothing to like base it off of. I'm down to like give this an episode. I don't know about the others.
I mean, I skimmed through the trailer and I don't know, it seemed kind of generic to me. Like, it's original in the sense that it's not based on anything, but it's not original in any meaningful sense.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a skip for me, unless you guys come back and you're like, wow, those first few episodes were heat. I don't really care.
Logan, you say that, but like we told you, like, wow, Gundam was heat. You should check it out, and then you didn't.
Well, that was for different reasons. I didn't watch Gundam because I didn't want to start at the end of Gundam.
Okay, small aside, just in case anyone actually listened to our last episode, we're gonna cut in. We've now seen the final episode of Gundam.
We should have started with this.
We should have started with this, but it's okay. It's the first one. We'll give you the quick reaction. I think now that we've all finished Gundam. Holy shit!
Yeah, watch Gundam.
You should watch Gundam. That last episode was fucking if you were worried about, oh no, it's a school anime, it hasn't had any real shit, any war and death and murder. Hey. Anyway, it went down in the last episode and things got complicated, so now's a great time to catch up, but we'll get another season, I'm sure, in a year or two. So
definitely sooner than later.
Is it coming out in like soon?
I think there's a 1 season break. I think comes out.
Oh hell yeah! Spring.
Yeah, this was originally a 24 episode anime.
Then it got delayed.
Yeah, it got delayed.
Okay, well, I will easily then one of my most excited shows for spring, and also a real highlight for 2022 as well. I think it's got legs. So anyway,
yeah.
Now we're back to Ars no Kyoujou, a show that I'm sure will be just as good. Tim, is this one out yet?
All the shows are out except for one, I believe.
It's like 1 or 2, yeah, I think.
Actually, I think they're all out. Hold on, let me.
One of them came out today that wasn't out. But anyway, we'll get to there. So, have you seen this one?
Yes. Okay, the only one that's not out is Hikari no O, but everything else has come out.
Real quick, we're a little late recording this. A lot of episode 1s are already out. We haven't seen them, but Tim has seen almost all of them. So, Tim has a bit of a leg up on us.
Yeah. So, we'll be referring to him.
The first episode was really disjointed. Like, I didn't really get a good grasp on what the show was about or the world it's in. It's just kind of like random like cutscene here and there. And I'm sure like as the show goes on, we'll probably get a better understanding of what's going on in the show, the kind of show it is. But it was okay. Just it didn't
nothing
tell
to
me
like
much
write
the first
home
episode.
about.
That's I just can't say too much because the show didn't tell me much.
Cool.
All right. But this is like I said, I might be a lighter season, so I could definitely see us maybe keeping up with this. All right. We'll move on now, I think.
All right. So Ayakashi Triangle. I used to think that gender bender was a niche fetish, but apparently it's prominent enough that there are 2 separate gender bender manga and I think a gender bender original, or at least a light novel, all that are getting adapted in the same season. This one has a distinction of being an action series. Basically, there's this demon hunter guy who and his childhood friend gets attacked by a demon, and he beats the demon, but is like kind of a, like last attack before the demon gets like fully depowered. He turns the guy into a hot girl for some reason. I think his exact reason. Classic bit.
His exact reasoning was that he saw the main guy and the girl were all like getting all lovey-dovey, and he's like, at the very least, I'm gonna stop them from getting together for some dumb reason. So he turned him to a girl.
Wow.
Yes. And I will say, from at least the last page of the first chapter, which is as far as I got into it, it doesn't seem like that is actually going to get in between them. Like this is definitely like Coomer anime, but it is at least going to avoid the trope of it being like, Yuri means that nothing ever happens ever. So
this is definitely a one show.
It is?
100%.
Oh, fuck.
There's a little bit of groping at the end, but I don't know.
I don't like that you attribute that to me.
Yeah.
She's like, you know when you gender band and you gotta like check out your new body kind of thing.
I hate that trope.
You gotta investigate.
Yeah, that trope's so shit.
I actually hate that trope.
It's because there's very few good gender bender. It's just not a very good genre anyway. So my notes on this one is that I thought it looked like it was designed like a little kids show, kind of like a young kids sort of like maybe preteen style action anime until it got really horny, and then I was like, oh no, this is not a kids anime, I guess. Even though you can look at the designs, it looks like that. He's like a ninja guy, and anyway. And then my other notes is it gay if you were originally a boy? And not like in a trans way, in which case it would definitely be a gay, he literally was a boy. Anyway, this looks really bad. Straight up from the trailer. I don't think I would ever watch this.
This is an easy skip for me.
Any further thoughts on Ayakashi Triangle or Ayakashi Triangle? There's a cat with balls. Have you ever thought about that, Logan?
Wait, did the cat have balls?
He has balls in the key art right here. He's got fat nuts. I'm looking at him.
Wow, good for him. Really?
Yeah.
He's got like a W.
It's a W, but it's more than you'd expect, is what I'm saying.
He's got the Peter
nuts.
Griffin chin.
Yeah.
Japan loves the W's and X's. Let's move on.
That's true.
As far as ecchi shows goes, this is like well animated enough and decent that, I mean, if you like this kind of show, you'll probably give it a try. But it's definitely for like the Kuma squad kind of people.
Yeah, we're ecchi bros, not Kuma.
If I thought that this was going to be a well-represented LGBT relationship, then maybe I'd be interested. But I don't quite think this is more like a Pornhub category of LGBT representation. So I think I'm gonna skip it.
There's a Yuri show down the road I think you will like
better, yeah.
Or I will tell you to give a couple episodes.
Alright, so Handyman Saitou in Another World. Every season there's a comedy that just completely fails to make me laugh, and for this season it's this one. This was just basically the joke here is just that like a handyman guy gets isekai'd, and he's useful because he can like pick locks on doors and stuff and do handyman. He's good with tools. And like there are a couple other characters and they all have like a joke. Like there's a wizard who always forgets things, and there's a girl who's always in her big armor for some reason that I don't really remember. Honestly, this just I got a few chapters into this and it was pretty bad, and like it was bad to the extent that I skipped to the second volume just to see if it was ever going to get any better. And it looked like it got a little bit better. The art was better, but like this, if this is one of the better isekai of the season, which is what I've heard, then that is a very bad sign. I did not like this at all.
I would not call this one of the better isekais of the shows.
Okay.
You said you would or you wouldn't?
I would not.
Okay.
This is pretty typical. Like, from the first episode, I didn't get much comedy coming across of it. I think the only comedy was the wizard guy who forgot his spells all the time. But like other than that, it wasn't really that comedy focused.
So that's actually what I was going to say.
The wizard guy was very prominently featured in the early chapters of the manga.
Yeah, like I said, the only guy that seemed kind of like comedic was the wizard guy. Everyone else was kind of just like introduction action, exploring dungeon kind of dealio.
I was going to say, so I think it's really interesting that Logan talked about this being like a joke kind of comedy manga, because the preview is not played like that. The preview is played like a action fantasy show that has like heart and is serious. I'm not kidding. My notes on this show are like, I actually mentioned that I would rather this be played for comedy, and I think it's going to be genuine, which is boring. Because I think the idea of having just like a Home Depot guy walking around with a bunch of fantasy characters could potentially be really funny if it handled by like a competent writer. But I was like, oh no, I think they're just playing this straight. Like he's gonna just be a normal isekai protagonist. And also the self-insert vibes on this one were strong. It's like, no one liked me in Japan. I didn't have any friends, but here I belong, and everyone needs me, and I'm useful, and that's fine. It's totally fine to have wish fulfillment shows like this one, but like I was like, damn. The production values actually look really nice, so I'm sure that's going to get a lot of people into it. And I think that this weird, like, I'm going to tape a bunch of ideas to a dartboard and throw and see what word I'm going to base my isekai around. And this one landed on Handyman, so I don't know. We're running out, I guess.
Like you guys are being like really harsh on it. Like I've seen like nothing but like good things on Twitter.
People, so we should emphasize people like this one, I think. So
Yeah, like for like all I see right now is just like the synopsis and like the art, the key art, and like the designs are like all right. The night girl is cute, and the lolly with the giant axe that's cool, and like there's like a priest guy in the background. Like I'm like digging these character designs. Like I'm like down to check out episode 1.
yeah, I
like,
might watch episode 1.
just because like the good reception on Twitter.
Chris kind of nailed the overall tone of the show. Like episode 1 was pretty like action fantasy kind of focused with like a little bit kind of a pretty decent emphasis on the guy being all like woe is me, I'm so unappreciated kind of thing. That's why I wouldn't say it's like an above average guy. It's just I don't know. It's just a normal kind of show. I do appreciate the fact that they didn't make the guy like super OP in this new world, but like
I'm tired of power
nice.
fantasy isekais.
I don't think the handyman is necessarily like a downside because I think last season proved that any show can be good. It's just depending on how you write and play it out. Like the sword isekai was like when you first hear it, you think that this is like the dumbest thing ever, and it turned out really well.
I think any isekai premise has potential to be good. It's just most of them are not executed well.
So I'm not doing any points against the fact there's a handyman. I'm just going to point out it doesn't really seem to be doing things special right now in the first episode. And I kind of, like I said, I kind of wish they'd like lean a little bit more on the comedic side a bit more because the first episode is pretty straight-faced action fantasy with like self-insert.
Yeah. I will be now moving on to one that I think is actually going to be funny, which is a new original from PA Works, Buddy Daddies. I think this is probably one of the most hyped originals that's coming out this season. I've actually seen a lot of people looking forward to this one. I've seen some cool trailers. So this one is about assassins. And much like, I guess a little bit like Tokyo Godfathers, they run into a little girl who's not a literal baby this time. I think she's a toddler, who's looking for her father on Christmas Day. And so they all end up living together. And obviously, I'm sure 2 trained assassins don't want a child getting mixed up in it. So I think it's going to have that kind of, in my notes, I say that this is looking to be, to fill the hole left in my heart from Millionaire Detective Club, except instead of being single and childless, now the 2 gay boys have a daughter to raise instead. So I think this looks like really fun, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, as soon as I heard PA Works, I'm like, oh, they did Akiba made Senso last season, so like I think they got like a train of fun going on right now. Like this show looks very fun. I remember seeing it being announced last season. I'm like, oh, this is a show I'm definitely gonna watch, like just from like the premise alone. Logan, Tim.
Well, I'm definitely gonna give this one a chance. I'm a little less enthused about it. I haven't been seeing the clips on Twitter. Really, all I've seen is just kind of the description of it, and it's funny that you go that far back, Christopher, because all I was really thinking of when I saw like 2 spies and a small child is Spy Family that just ended.
I wanted to avoid comparisons.
Recently.
I think a lot of people are going to say that, but I really don't think this is anything like Spy Family. That's why I wanted to do the Millionaire Detective, because I think that is a much closer comparison than
And honestly, if this is drawing from the Millionaire Detective, well, I'm more interested than if it's just kind of a Spy Family knockoff. I'm going to give it a chance for sure. Yeah, I'm just, I don't know, a little colder on it than everybody else, I guess.
Tim, is it more like, which one is it more like, would you say?
It's more like Spy Family.
Okay, damn, never mind. I'm just wrong.
The
Shinzo Abe from the grave. His agenda continues.
The gay agenda.
There's no gay romance.
I'm kidding about that.
It's very much platonic. They actually don't even interact that much in the first episode. It's like it's over top fun, but unlike Akiba Maid, I think they like mesh the like over the top with the comedy and the heartwarming, and it kind of flows much better than like I feel like Akiba was like very drastically one or the other, just all in. This one flowed better and connected more. It kind of like how Spy Family did it. But it was a lot of fun between the one guy who's just like a lazy neat bum kind of dude, and then the like I would say generic kind of self-insert main character who like gets the kid and they like adopt to. It's how much is it? Yeah, for PA Works, I think this is probably the one I'm looking most forward to between Akiba and Kome, because I feel like it actually flows and has like a direction, and it's not just over the top fun, just be over the top fun. It feels like there's
a little bit more depth
to it, and depth and direction.
Awesome. I'm very excited about this one. Definitely, this one I'm probably gonna watch the whole thing unless it just like completely crashes and burns, which PA Works is capable of. But recently it's been pretty good. So looking forward to that one. Okay. Next on the list, I believe Juan. No, but we're skipping all that shit. Juan, you're introing this one.
Yes, I am. Oh boy, man. Don't do your homework last minute, kids. All right. Eiyuu-ou, I'm not saying this Japanese name. Reborn to master the blade from Hero King to Extraordinary Squire. All right. From the sound of it, this is an old king is reborn as a female knight in what sounds to be like a sci-fi isekai. At least from what I can. No, am I wrong?
No, it's just straight up normal isekai. Yeah, video
God
game RPG shit. Yep.
Juan, this is why you do your research.
No, it's okay. I don't blame him.
Like from the synopsis, it sounds like sci-fi, but like
no, it's the same shit.
If this was sci-fi, I would have been so interested because like I don't think there's been like a sci-fi isekai.
I would be into that too, but oh well.
But like if it's just like a normal ass isekai, then like whatever. Old man is reborn as a female knight, and there's a bunch of girls. Whatever.
Yeah, this is yet another gender bender, by the way.
The second of 3.
Yeah, this is a more traditional isekai OP power fantasy thing where this guy gets reborn because he's super overpowered. In the first episode, he's like a kid and like 4. For like he's a kid for like half the show, like an actual little baby. I think he's like 4 on the other half, but like we don't see very much. We don't see anything like lewd or ecchi with him being a female body.
I would hope not. As a child.
Yes, but like I'm not really sure why they made him a Kyuko. I guess like Kyukos sell better than guys.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
But like other than that, I'd see no point for them changing his gender. But the animation's a little better than average is the main thing going for it. I was surprised, I would say, especially from this studio who like isn't really known for like anything really. I was surprised by the animation, but other than that, there's not too much going for it.
Does Studio Combat have any notable anime?
Huh?
I don't know.
You cut out.
Has Studio
it's got Run a Girlfriend.
Yeah, they haven't made that much.
Hey.
This one, really... I don't know. I'm just really tired of the whole I'm getting reincarnated as a baby and then we have to like spend time watching them grow up. It's usually kind of a waste and doesn't do anything interesting.
Mushoku Tensei did it, so now all isekai have to do it.
Yeah, for real. It's like it is in so many of them recently, and it's like, dude, can we please move on? Yeah, dude, I wish I could fucking write LNs and make $1 million in Japan. It must be so easy. Just press copy and paste. I have nothing to say about this one. It doesn't seem like it's interesting or has any merit at all.
I have even less to say than you.
Cool.
Okay. All right, Juan. What'd you think of this one? The next one.
Oh boy, Flaglia, Natsumi
Something like that.
no Monogatari. From the synopsis, I'm getting almost nothing. Like, it looks like Pretty Boys, and I guess the anime is present day, and then there's also a musical that's in the Middle Ages. Like, the last mixed media we saw was the fucking Tacto P Destiny. And that was bad.
There's been other ones too that are also bad.
Was that mixed media?
Yeah,
that was
a
game adaptation.
Yeah,
I think there was more too. I mean, Revue Starlight was mixed media, but we're not going to talk about that. I think that's more of the exception than the rule.
Yeah, exactly.
This trailer was nothing too. It was like short, and there were no visuals, and it was weird and kind of grainy too.
I felt like I knew less about the anime after watching the trailer than before I did. There is absolutely nothing happening in it.
Can we just agree that this is probably some kind of a tax write-off and or like mob front money laundering scheme and then move on? Okay, cool. How about High Card though?
High Card's a show. I saw the first episode back in, I think, November. And it was... Really? They had a premiere thing. Actually, a lot of these episodes came out in November. But it's like buddy daddy kind of over the top crazy thing. Like the show starts off very fast paced action based, where you can see there's like deck of cards and they like disappear and you don't know what they mean. And then you jump cut to like your like cast of people that each have their cards, and each cards have its own like special ability. One of them is like gives you super good luck. Another of them is like transforms. Another one like decapitates people, kind of basically.
Oh.
It's just really just crazy, crazy show, and it seems like a lot of fun. Lots of action.
So what you're telling me is that this is the piece of media that this resembles most is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
Oh, shut up.
I'm interested.
Fan.
I'm interested.
From what I can see from the key art, this looks like just like mainly a pretty boy show.
No, there's
No?
more to it. No,
Yeah,
there's a lot more.
It's pretty crazy looking.
Okay.
This is so big thing. This is the next big project from the guy that made Kakegurui, which I'm sure is going to be what a lot of people are watching it for. I kind of hate Kakegurui, but I'm more than willing to give this guy another chance with a different type of story. It seems just as over the top. This trailer was fucking crazy. It was like difficult to follow. There were so many superpowers going off, and I wasn't really understanding any of the mechanics, but I am interested in learning how the system works because it seems silly and fun. And there's enough like visual flair and pizzazz and a lot less girls coming themselves after like tossing a pair of dice or whatever. So I will probably be more interested than in Kakegurui, which despite my shortcomings with it, I think was a very well made, well produced like anime. It looks great. It sounds great. I just didn't like I thought it was diet kaiji. So anyway, this one's probably one of the more interesting ones from this season, so I'm definitely interested in checking it out.
Yeah, I actually never heard like anything about this before this podcast, so I'm actually really down to check this out. Maybe 3 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I would say 3 episodes for this one.
Especially now that I know that it's not a pretty boy show.
I think especially with what Tim said, it sounds like you're going to need at least 2 to even understand what the fuck is happening, so.
Logan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially in a season like this, I'm just willing to take some chances on some stuff that might be good, might suck, and yeah, this seems like, high risk, high reward proposition.
All right. Speaking of, I think the next one's going to be kind of like that too. So we have Hikari no O. So this is a novel adaptation, and this is actually, I believe, getting worked on by Mamoru Oshii, who is not making that much anymore. I don't know if he wrote the novel or if he's just writing the adaptation.
Who's Mamoru Oshii?
But is the director of Ghost in the Shell and Angel's Egg. Yeah. So this has some interesting visuals. It is about flame demons, and there are people called fire hunters that I believe hunt them. So it is sort of I think maybe post-apocalyptic sci-fi / fantasy kind of show going on. The visuals look solid. I wouldn't say I was like blown away or anything by them. They're not insane. But this has enough merit that I think I am definitely going to at least check it out. So I don't know how the rest of y'all feel about it.
I wasn't super interested from like the description and the poster, but like I don't know, man. If Mamoru Oshii is sneezed on this, I'm okay with it. I'll at least give it a couple episodes.
Yeah, same with me. Like I had zero interest, but then you said that name, I'm like, oh, okay.
I will say I think he's worked on some other projects recently, and I don't know if any of them turned out very well. So I don't want to like, I don't know.
Give us false hope.
He hasn't done anything in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm actually going to.
Did was like 2021.
I'm trying to go look and see if there was anything. Oh no! Wow, he really hasn't. Vladlove. He worked on Vladlove.
You guys didn't watch Vladlove?
No,
I don't even remember.
That is the most recent thing. Everything else is like way old.
Wow.
So this is kind of his return to doing anime. So that's interesting.
He didn't make the story. He's the writer, but he's not the original creator.
He's not the original creator. He didn't write the novel, and he's not.
Like, yeah, it just looks like his art style.
I will say the director, like the actual director of this, has exclusively made hot ass. So I'm not. That was one thing that I was like, ooh.
Studio
Winners
Signal
and
MD.
losers.
Well, what are they known for?
MD, they've done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Cyberman World,
blanking
Silver
off the top of my head.
Pop,
Yeah, like I'm interpreting this as like taking a chance on this anime more than anything. Like I don't know if I would have taken a chance on this last season, but like this season, there's just not as much going on.
I'm interested. Yeah, it's got a unique enough premise that I'm down to like give it the old college try.
Right.
One episode. Why not?
MD's animation usually isn't like awful, and they've done some good, interesting stuff like Netju and Mars Red. So
we'll try it.
Just want to try.
Yeah, episode 1's not out yet, so
yeah, it's the one of the few.
Yeah, it's the only one that hasn't come out yet.
Okay. Juan, you get another trash isekai. Congratulations.
Oh boy. I'm not gonna attempt to say that. So, the Ice Blade Sorcerer shall rule the world. This looks like a magical school isekai. Woo! Yay, baby. If Tim says this is good, sure, I'll check it out. But like, I doubt it. Tim?
Not particularly. It's about normal for isekai standard.
Cool.
This
is this an actual isekai or is this
it's a
this is
magical school.
Power fantasy.
Yeah.
Magical school? Okay.
It's
Same
basically
genre,
isekai.
though.
It's the same, mood you're aiming for.
Dude.
Native isekai.
I didn't know if Tim had more insight into this after watching episode 1, but this trailer looked fucking awful. Like, this show is ugly as sin and has some of the worst magic CGI effects I have ever seen in my life. And that is from the trailer, which is what they put out to advertise to get people to watch it. So I shudder to think what is actually in the anime. This is one of the worst looking isekais I've seen. So
you saw Juan watching Futu no Guild.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's other one. Well, hey, Futoku no Guild had some good animation in some regards, if you know what I'm saying. But no, this looks just like some of the it was bad. The compositing on the CG and just how poorly it blended. It looked like a PS2 game. It was bad.
I'm watching this trailer right now. I have seen PS2 games that look better than this.
But maybe we just haven't gotten to the scenes that those are referencing yet. I don't know.
It wasn't that bad. I don't put too much of a default for animation. That's probably why people will like the Handyman so much more, just the animation. Yeah, and also the fact that the guy wasn't OP, but like even then, that doesn't like save the show.
Well, does this one have merit outside of the animation in the story and characters?
No, but like, animation affects very little, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, Handyman people like that, it's hard that, but like to me, it's about the same level as this show, just because it just feels very normal. It doesn't do anything new.
Yeah.
So they're both on the same level to me, despite what other people say.
Sure. All right, we're gonna move on to a big one, to our first big sequel.
Nagatoro, what to say? It's just more senpai thing. Like, I know Chris and Juan and a lot of other people got really turned off on the first episode, but like they did that thing where like the first episode's just like all shock factor and like over like 10 times like worse than like the rest of the show, and then it tones it down immediately right afterwards. Like Goblin Slayer did that, and like that's what's it called? We do feel the exact same thing.
Okay, yeah.
Like all shows just go for the shock thing. And Nagatoro did the same thing. The first episode was just really bad, and the rest of the show was just actually a pleasantly like good like rom-com with like some teasing, but like it wasn't like anywhere near as bad or bullying as like first episode.
Right.
And this is just more of that. And the second season started to see like towards the end of the first season too, but second season particularly, you see the shift where like you see him start becoming more of like more of a character, and he's like defending her, and you see the white, he's not like why is this guy even like this guy? He has no redeeming quality, where he's actually, doing things, becoming like a decent character. So it's been a fun first episode. I'm glad that the show's back. For the record,
and I guess we would have never talked about this because I think this was before the podcast. I the reason I dropped this is because I was pretty sure that if I was ever going to enjoy this series, I would read the manga because I would enjoy the pacing a lot more. I just thought that it was going to be way too slow in anime form. So
And
honestly,
did you ever read the manga?
no, but I still might. And maybe if I do, I'll come back and watch season 2. This is of this kind of genre of like the bullying the main character genre. This is obviously like the best one and everyone likes it a lot and it's wildly popular. It's the most popular, I'll say. And people say the manga is the best one. And I've been following this one for a long time, just of like hearing people talk about the manga, and I know it gets good, and I have some friends that have read it, and like they insist that like it's good and it stays good. So I'm sure this season will be even better. And if this is your thing and you're on the Nagatoro train, yeah, go for it. I'm sure it's good. Maybe I'll read the manga at some point.
It's been 2 years. I'm not holding out.
Oh, it's been way longer than that. I've been known about this manga since it like came out. But anyway.
So my point still stands.
Yeah, exactly. I doubt either of the other two have any interest in this one, right?
No.
Logan,
I mean, obviously Logan doesn't. I think Logan would rather die. But Juan, I don't think is going to get back to it because we dropped it.
Unlike Chris, I won't put up a front. I don't really care. Like that first episode really turned me off from like how hardcore the bullying felt. I'm like, no thanks. I don't care that it gets better.
I'm not putting up a front. I meant what I said. I just didn't have the patience to sit through the beginning portion of it. All right. I'm going to have to scroll to get this one because it's in the short section, so just start talking about it.
All right, baby. Inu ni Nattara Suki no hito ni hiro wetara, or where to go? My life as Inukai-san's dog. Guy gets reincarnated as a dog. And he follows a bunch of girls and does a bunch of ecchi shit. This is like the perfect ecchi bros show. I don't give a shit what the other two say. Now, granted, I'm giving this a lot of hype. I will drop it at the second it gets bad. Like if there's like some sort of like dog raping jokes, like I'm out. Tim, have you already seen episode 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it get that bad or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
There's this weird like nose scene that was kind of weird, but like it was just weird.
Okay.
One can celebrate because it's an uncensored version that came out pretty recently.
Oh,
so
boy.
I know one's gonna want that.
Oh boy. All right, we can move on. Unless you have anything else to say.
I'll be interested to hear the check-in for the mid-season on this one. I am passing judgment, though.
We'll probably stick
Silent
with
judgment.
it. No one out group.
It's also short, so like
easier to get through.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 minutes is
I would
still a
simply
decent length.
I would simply watch porn instead. Anyway,
porn doesn't have the quality.
that's true.
or, like,
I'm
the
so
tease
you're
that
so
these shows
you're so
have.
right.
You're right.
The nuance is really what puts it over the edge.
It's all about the nuances.
Okay. Oh, dude, this one fucking looks so bad. Okay, so this is another isekai. And he dies in his like late 30s.
At
and
39.
so 39, yeah. And so he gets reincarnated and he had one simple wish, which is to just kind of have a nice, healthy, peaceful life, speak the local language, and farm. He wants to farm. Yeah, yes, this is yet another farming isekai.
Woo!
I don't know what number we're on now. This is either 2 or 3,
Yay.
I think. And I mean, it's exactly what it says on the tin. He starts a farm and then immediately gets surrounded by a harem of hot babes who love the farm, I guess. And I guess are just all going to live with him and be his wives or something. I don't know. Now, granted, I think that's also the plot of every Harvest Moon game. So, I mean, clearly
I
we're
was
onto
gonna
something
say,
here.
like, are we just watching someone Stardew Valley speedrun?
Exactly. So clearly, if you want to get bitches, start a farm, I guess, is the moral of this story. Either way, this somehow feels more generic than the other isekais we've covered so far. It does literally have isekai in the name because it's farm isekai. Tim, do you have anything to say about this one?
This one actually has the most promise out of all
Wow.
the ones we've done so far.
Of the
I
so
would.
far, sure. I'll give you so far.
Of all the isekais we've like talked about so far, this one has the most promise.
Okay.
So unlike the other isekai who was like last season, also if you want like bad animation, you should like watch the trailer for that one because that one was literally god awful
terrible
animation. So this one's isekai and he's like quote unquote overpowered, but like instead of like being like, oh, I'm overpowered, everything's like going my way, it actually feels more. It's a much more grounded show where he actually has to struggle and figure out like, oh, I have to like build a house now. I gotta like find some food. I gotta like build this like boat thing and stuff. And it really does like the first episode does feel kind of like IOL, like Stardew Valley or like Minecraft or whatever, where he's slowly just like building from nothing and figuring out, oh, this is what I need and going in. So it's more like he's actually taking care with the premise that's given. It's not like, oh, this is a random premise. Now he's overpowered. It's got like every single other show that like of isekai OP tag thing. So on that alone, it shows that they actually put like 2 brain cells to writing this show out.
Yeah,
and that alone just makes it like
it's good that they're
buff over.
It's good that they're playing into like what it should be about and what makes it interesting. I just wish it wasn't a harem because that's boring. But
well,
just me.
This out of the first episode, you don't see a single like female like at
based.
all.
No.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just know from the trailer. There's like 10 girls.
Yeah.
The trailer has a ton. So
Well,
like,
actually, they do like a end of the show kind of preview, and then they jump back to the beginning. So
Yeah.
they do like show a peek, but it was just literally just him in a forest for literally the entire episode, being like, now I'm in the woods. Now I
Yeah.
gotta figure out how to live. So
if you like progression based kind of survival type stuff, maybe genuinely, if you are into games like Stardew, this is an interesting one for you. I think that there is an audience for this kind of thing. I just don't think it's me.
I don't know. Maybe it could go like downhill in like the next couple episodes and be like a trashy thing, but like first episode showed like a good amount of promise.
Cool. I doubt y'all other two have any thoughts on this one. Probably
No, I'm fine missing out on this.
Okay.
I wish this guy the best of luck in collecting all the harvest sprites.
Dude, don't get me started. All right, Juan, you want us to introduce yet another fantasy isekai type beat?
God, don't do your homework last second, fellas. All right, not saying that. Chilling in my 30s after getting fired from the Demon King's army. It's a not isekai. About an underling becoming an adventurer. If Tim, you've seen episode 1, is this heat or no?
No, this is actually probably down there in the bottom of the barrel. But yeah,
Awesome,
it's
cool.
That's the vibe I got from the trailer.
Cool, I'm fine skipping this then, because man,
So
just from the key art.
You picked it for the big honkers.
No, I didn't.
That was me.
You wrote it. Oh, you
That
wrote
was
it.
me.
Okay.
Let me go through my notes. Let me go through my notes. I read the premise and I was like, okay, sure. The premise is essentially that he's a demon king and he gets booted out of the demon king army because he doesn't have magical abilities, and so he's in the village with humans who don't have magic. And then he ends up joining an adventurer party, and but he doesn't have. The whole thing is like he doesn't want them to find out he's from the demon king army, obviously, because they're enemies. And he ends up meeting who I think is like the main girl, and the only contributing factor that I saw is that the show really wants me to know that she has huge tits, and she has huge tits, and they are in every shot. And there's this really egregious shot in the trailer early on. It's one of my favorite, and I say favorite in air quotes, anime shot setups, which is an over the boob shot, kind of an over the shoulder, but it's the boobs are in the bottom of the frame. And that was when I knew what kind of show I was watching, and I was like, all right, cool. I think if this had more polish, the premise of this being kind of a fun little fantasy romance could be fine, but this looks like the people working on it don't give a shit, which is probably true because it looks terrible. We can move on. If there, yeah, go ahead. I don't know if you have anything else meaningful to say about this one.
I mean, I think it's supposed to be more of like a quote unquote slice of life show, but it's like literally the guy like got booted out of the demon army because he like couldn't use magic, which all demons can, so he was like useless and weak. And then he like goes into the human resident, and then he like finds out that he's like actually a really powerful adventurer. and instead of going off on a grand adventure to the big city to become like an S-class adventure, he stays in town to like help the people who like saved him after he got kicked out. But like, I don't know, the animation seems mid, and like there's really nothing about the show that stands out to me.
It's just
Awesome.
nothing that makes it special. The next one is pretty big, and I'm very excited to hear Logan's take on it. Who loves these kinds of shows?
This was really, really bad.
Oh,
like,
boy.
okay, for the first few chapters, literally all of them were exactly the same. Okay,
What's the name of this show?
Okay, sorry. This is Korizokesi Danshi Tokul na Dorio Joshi. It's the Yuki Onna guy and his cool office worker lady.
Okay.
Basically, the premise here is that the main character guy is a descendant of Yuki Onna, and he summons blizzards and freezes things around him accidentally. And the main character girl is just a co-worker of his. And every chapter is 4 pages long, and I can tell you the exact contents of every page. Page 1, there are 2 panels explaining the premise of the manga, which is not complicated and doesn't need to be explained every chapter. Then there are 2 panels of the main character guy being unable to enjoy something because he freezes it. On page 2, main character girl gives him a gift. On page 3, she explains how it will replicate or fix whatever he can't do due to his freezing. Page 4, panel 1, she turns away. Panel 2, he makes the exact same blushy face. Panel 3, he causes a blizzard while using her gift. Every single chapter for like the first 5 chapters were exactly like that. It was unbearable to read.
Anyway, this is probably going to be one of the most popular shows of the season. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I think the anime does that a lot better.
Oh,
Okay.
is this an anime glow up moment?
Probably. Logan would still hate it because it's still like romance rom-com. So
Mhm.
I don't know why we haven't Logan introduced this.
Because
But it's fine.
it's his
He's the manga
noble
boy.
duty, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the preview of this one. I thought it was cute. This is in that same kind of genre that is, I'm honestly all for. Keep making them. I would much rather have office rom-coms than high school rom-coms. In the sort of Wodokoi, my senpai's annoying vein. These tend to be a little bit more mature, a little bit better. This was a cute little preview. I could absolutely see it being repetitive like Logan was talking about, but at the same time, I'm definitely going to at least watch episode 1 of this to see if it's as bad or if maybe they find more interesting ways to convey that. I think in anime, they could maybe do a little bit more with it. But the character designs are pretty good, so I don't know.
Yeah, like just from the key art and the synopsis alone, like the character design looks cute. The premise of like a male Yuki Onna, which is like, I think that's super rare. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think like, I
Yuki
know
Onna
any
is
others.
literally Snow Woman, so yes.
Yes.
It's pretty rare.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, I'm down to check this out. Like maybe give it an episode. Maybe 3-episode rule. Who knows?
I'm
we'll
leaning
see.
more 1 than 3, but I'll check
Okay.
it out. Especially if Tim liked the first one, which it sounds like he did.
It was a very cute, wholesome show. I think 2 episodes are out. I think by the first episode, you have a pretty good idea of like the tone of the show, and either this is like your thing or it's not. But it does give off like a very Waterkoi kind of vibe, dealio. Just a little bit less than the comedy. It's more of just like a wholesome romance than anything.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, if it's repetitive, I probably won't keep up with it, but we'll see. All right. Speaking of, we have another rom-com coming up. This one is who's doing this one? Oh, Logan is.
Me.
Go King.
This is the Logan block.
Yeah, this is the Logan block. I
Yeah,
realized.
this is the Logan block. So this is Kubo-san wa mob wo yurusanai.
Mob.
No.
No, I wish, dude.
Your life is your own?
Thing. This guy looks a lot like Mob because they're drawing from the same joke. The joke is that he looks like a background character, a Mob character in an anime. And if I were to analogize this to anything, I'd say it's kind of closer to a Kohai teasing manga like Nagatoro than anything else.
Aw,
Isn't that
just turns me
exactly
off.
what it is?
Yes, not exactly.
Okay.
Let Logan
Basically,
finish,
so
yeah.
so the Mob guy, I don't remember his name, Junta. Junta is literally invisible. Like he just fades into the background of everywhere he is. Like his classmates joke that if they see him twice in one day, they're on a hot streak, it's a lucky day for them. And nobody talks to him except for the one like really cute girl, and she is always like trying to push him to, I don't know, be more forward and get out of his shell and so forth. It kind of. Do you remember that episode of Another, that like one scene where the two guys that everybody was ignoring just like screw around in the classroom?
The best episode of that whole series.
Yes, it kind of has like a worse version of that energy where they're like constantly pushing this guy to do wackier things. Like he stands up on his chair in class, and eventually they do notice him because it's not like a full on, he's literally invisible type thing. But
yeah,
broadly, the whole thing just kind of felt like an excuse for, the cute girl to make the stock cute girl faces. Like, the one where her eyes are half closed and her like hands are on her cheeks and her face is tilted a little bit,
yes.
The Anya face.
Yes, exactly. No, not the Anya face.
No, it's the fucking Takagi-san face. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very smug anime girl.
Mm-hmm. But it's just like, to do that exact face and, rehash a bunch of jokes and stuff like that. It never really felt like much of anything to me. I feel like, much like the main character, the show is just going to kind of pass everybody by.
I brought up Mob like as a joke earlier, but like now that I like see the key art in the synopsis, this really feels like this is what like Mob wanted in the show. Like this is what he wanted his life to be. You know what I mean?
What an interesting
with his crush.
Yeah. I think it's really funny that he has a nose in this key art, because I think in every single shot I saw of the preview, he didn't have a nose, but she did. And I don't know why does she get one and he doesn't. That's all I'm saying.
He has almost no facial features. It's actually
it's really
pretty funny.
It's a wild. It's a little off-putting in the anime. Actually, I kind of don't like his design. I don't know. Anyway, Tim could talk about it. Does this one have any merit at all?
Yes. Like, I don't really like Logan's making the comparison to Nagatoro, because it is kind of like a Kohai Senpai kind of situation, except it's the same grade, so it's not. But it's like, it is a teasing show, but it's not like the Nagatoro bullying thing. It's like a fun line of teaser, never like anywhere near like the mean spectrum. This was actually like
Takagi.
one of the best, huh?
Oh,
Takagi thing. The main chick is Kanahana, which I think one would appreciate.
Kanahanazawa. Yeah.
Yeah, Kanahana's the main chick, so I think that gets plus points for one. Teaser show. It is even more cute. It's kind of, this season seems to be a lot of the wholesome romance things between the Koridanchi and this one. You get your kind of feel of like these are very just like wholesome, just romance kind of bottom between these two people. I think Kanahana was a great choice in that dynamic. It's fun. It's probably one of my most favorite out of the pre-watch.
Wow.
But that's
crazy.
only if you're into that kind of like slow, kind of cute romance thing. If you're not, then you'll probably
okay.
Skip.
I mean, maybe I'll watch episode 1. This from the trailer. This looked awful, like really bad. I don't know, dude.
You're not watching. Why? Because the animation.
No, I just don't like this genre of show.
Then don't watch it.
My notes are boring, no paper, no bitches.
If it's not your genre, then you won't like it. If it is, then it's one.
I mean, maybe I like Pine Jam. They've been on a hot streak. They've made a lot of good stuff recently. Maybe there's merit there. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch episode 1.
I'm down to give this an episode. Like,
yeah.
I'm a little bit more positive than Chris. Like, because
my prediction
I've just watched a lot of these recently, and none of them have
one will keep it. Chris would drop it.
I don't know. We dropped Ahiren and we dropped Takagi and we dropped like there's just a lot of these types of shows. And Takagi, the girl, what's the other one from Not a Cutie? That one with the pink-haired bitch.
Shikimori.
Which one?
Shikimori, yeah.
Oh, Shikimori, yeah.
Just kind of all these different shows are
similar. But like Shikimori, like
that one's different, but they're all high school rom-com with weird relationship dynamic. That's kind of the whole vibe. Anyway.
But like Takagi, I do admit it is a pretty slow start and it gets a little bit repetitive. So far, at least this one, it doesn't have those issues.
Okay.
It's not the same one gag over and over again. Well, it is the same gag, but they do in different ways. From like standing chair or like clovers and things. They change up the gag so it's fresh. And Yeah, but I feel like this isn't the kind of show that Chris will like.
Probably not. Okay, we can move on. Oh wow, we got a lot of sequels we are not talking about. Okay, Mononogatari.
Yeah. I've been pronouncing it Mononogatari. I don't know how it's actually pronounced. So this is like a supernatural action show, and it's sort of a like kind of stock, X-Men racism against people with superpowers thing, sort of. Basically there are these like spirits who make it into Earth, who possess objects. And sometimes they're just like, kind of confused and wandering around. Sometimes they cause a lot of damage. Sometimes they want to continue living on Earth. The main character's grandfather is like understanding and patient with them. The main character just starts blasting. That's kind of the thing, is that he gets sent to this home, which has a bunch of these spirits living around, by his grandfather to try and like humanize the spirits and get him to like just stop, going crazy on them, and to help him overcome his childhood trauma, because of course he has a bunch of childhood trauma about all of this. I'm sounding down on this. I think I kind of like, I'm probably going to give it a shot, just because this is a weaker season, and like I feel like there is some potential for some good in here. I say that I'm looking at like AniList right now, and it's got like a 60%, which is pretty bad. But I don't know. Maybe Tim can give some better context.
This thing stands out to me purely in the premise that's a yokai show, and those are pretty rare these days. But as far as like the premise of the show and the story, it's pretty like there's not much there. Like Logan's pretty much nailed it. The guy is like an exorcist who like sends spirits back, but this guy has like anger issues because like his like brother and sister died, so he hates all yokais. So then they go and send him to this the boarding house, and now you have like this like Yakuza kind of thing where all the like you have like the master and everyone around who is like a yokai, and he's here to like learn about them kind of deal. But like I don't know, it didn't have much.
I'll say it was easily one of the best looking trailers out of this whole batch, and I think I'm just easily impressed. Yeah, it has cool character designs and interesting fights and some decent animation, and I'm just like, at this point in the trailer watch, I had been beaten down by like 8 really bad looking isekais in a row, so just any hint of originality, I was like, okay, but at the same time, it does seem a little generic. But I will be still checking it out. I'm sure that it is at least worth watching an episode or two.
I don't know. Me personally, like, there's just nothing that's really like grabbing me, like other than like that guy with the beard and like having like twin tail beard. That's fucking weird. Other than that, though, like this art style looks bad to me. Like
it looked better in the preview.
I'm sure
the TV did.
It looks very flat in the poster, but not in the actual motion of the show.
The show had some good action scenes. There was a couple of weird background shot moments that kind of looked like weird CG things, but like for the most part, it was well animated. But like I said, animation can only go so far for me.
If Chris says it's heat, then I'll check it out. But otherwise, I don't think I want to.
I'm just saying there ain't that much, and I'm taking anything we can get.
I don't know. I got a good amount of episode 1s racking up now, so I'm like, I should cut my losses.
There's no chances it's all gonna be good. All right. Though this next one I actually have decently high hopes for, if Logan wants to bring us in.
Yes, I am excited for this one. So Mou Ippon is a very straightforward martial arts show, to the extent that I'm not even going to summarize the plot. It's girls, they do judo. It's just kind of how, it's a martial arts show. The actual judo on display, from what I read in the manga, seems pretty well researched. I think I found somewhere online that the mangaka is like an actual like judo practitioner, so they know their stuff. I can't guarantee that this is going to be good. I would have liked to have read more, but so far this seems like good, clean fun. There's a lot of like nice looking action, at least from what I've seen from like in the trailer. It seems like the manga looked really nice, and the nice seems to have translated over to the anime. I like the character designs, the kind of, they look a little bit like Inio Asano characters, at least in the manga. They look a little more flat in the anime. ultimately, I think that this is going to be a good, solid, fun sports show, and I'm willing to give it a chance.
I really like the character designs. It's unique. They're a little bit like rounder faced. I wouldn't say it's chubbier, though some of them are, but I think it's more of an art style than like their actual appearance is. But yeah, this was one of the better PVs that I watched, and I have heard nothing but good things about this one since it came out. Like everyone seems to like it a lot. So, and I also, girls martial arts anime, I don't know if there have been very many yet so far that really are proper sports tournament anime and not like cute girl club shows. So I think that it is cool that we're seeing like teen girls get to be competitive in a genre that they're not as often. So that's got some interesting merit. So I'm definitely gonna check this one out. This one looks good.
I don't know. Me personally, like this is a sports show that I just something in my brain just cannot connect with sports. If you guys say it's cool, then I'll check out episode 1. But for right now,
I think my bias is that if it's girl led, I have a higher chance of watching it for some reason. I just don't know why that is, but this is it. Like Hanabata was like that too, so I don't know.
My bias is that if it's a cool sport, I'm more likely
also
to watch
true.
it.
Martial arts is a little different.
Judo is way cooler than soccer.
True. Tim, how'd you feel about this one?
From episode 1, yeah.
This is like pretty standard, like cute girls doing cute things kind of dealio. Just
more cute girls doing cute things than sports, or
it's just the one thing I'll give the show credit for is that it does put a lot of care into the martial arts scenes, that it seems very realistic and it's animated well enough. But as far as like the actual show, it feels very standard, like cute doing cute things kind of dealio, where there's like, other than the 2 scenes where they like do a judo fight, it's a pretty like slow pace monotone show. I'm actually surprised that you guys are all so like big into it.
Hey, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee we're gonna keep up.
You guys would have passed it over a second thought.
Dude, it's a drought.
First of all, this is a bad season. Second of all, I have heard that we're like, what's it called? Very quickly from the beginning, they're going to launch into a tournament arc, and I've seen like stills from the manga that happen afterwards. There is going to be some real serious fighting.
I was going to say that is what I've heard. Is
in.
That it is more action packed than your average show of this genre, which is another reason that like, I want to watch the girls beat each other up. So, all right, this next one is probably the spiciest one of the entire episode. If one wants to cue us in here.
Yeah, Nier Automata. Like I remember when this was announced, I was like, "Whoa, Nier Automata anime! That's really cool." And then episode 1 came out, and Twitter was just flooded, and I mean flooded with clips of like the terrible CG in this show, which is a goddamn shame. Like, man, A1 Pictures is doing the show, and like A1 Pictures is an absolute gamble. Like, sometimes you get Kaguya, and then sometimes you get Persona 5 the animation.
Yeah, and this is leaning more towards
Persona 5 the animation, which is also
Persona 5 is Cloverwork, wasn't it?
It says
I think they
A1.
did. I think A1 did P5A. I can't remember.
Or maybe just like season 1.
I'm pretty sure it was all Cloverwork.
Whatever.
It was all Cloverwork.
They're essentially the same thing.
They're not at this point, but it's fine.
They're not.
Ace Attorney can be a better example then, because A1 did that.
Oh god, Ace Attorney. Man, why do A1 have to handle video game adaptations?
This one's not quite that level. Like, I've seen some good 2D animation from this, and the preview, actually that was the thing, the preview looked really good, which is why it's kind of crazy that the actual execution seems to not be very good. I don't think any of us have played this game, so we would be going into this with fresher eyes than people that have expectations and could be disappointed.
It's definitely like high up in my like backlog.
Yeah, I've
list.
started it. I haven't gotten that very far, but
I've gone through a good chunk of the game. I would say the first episode was incredibly ambitious, and I really don't think any studio could have done that episode justice the way A1 tried doing it.
What about Mappa?
So like even Mappa, like, so I don't know if you guys remember the prologue, because the first episode is basically the prologue of the game, where like they go from like the top-down shooter plane things to like the 2D action, and then to the giant mecha fight.
The only part of the game I played, yeah. So
You didn't do the 2D or the giant boss
can't.
thing?
I did
So-
whatever the first level was. I can't remember. Yeah,
Yeah, until like they like go back to this PlayStation.
I don't know if I made it that far. I'll be honest.
Okay.
But
So it's ambitious because they do this whole like fighter jet fight, shooting thing with a bunch of CGI, and then they go down to like the 2D action, hand-to-hand combat, which is really where A1 animation really shines. And then it goes back to like a bunch of giant mechas, so you also have to do a bunch of CG, and it gets kind of wonky there. And so like it's incredibly ambitious, and so there's very inconsistency with the quality because of like all the different things it's doing. I'm more curious about like how they're gonna adapt the game, because like just based on the first episode, they followed the game like 1-to-1, even down to like the weird hacking scene, which people made fun of because like you do like a hacking game, and then in the show they do like a whole like hacking animation, the guy like swimming through the internet kind of thing, which was kind of dumb. But like, they're really trying to like, they followed the product 1-to-1 pretty closely. So I'm interested to see how they handle the rest of the show, because it like branches off quite a bit.
my problem with this show is that I don't know if I want to watch it or if I should just play the game. I feel like the game's obviously going to be the better experience in the long run, but is it worth spoiling myself with this adaptation if it maybe doesn't quite live up to the game? I don't know. It's a hard decision. I haven't been really sure. I'm probably going to watch at least a couple episodes just to be informed, but I don't know.
I think we should do 3 episodes. I don't think the rest of the show will be quite as like inconsistent as the first one.
Yeah. I'm down to check it out at least. I don't know how the other feel.
I'm down to give it that chance.
This is a no from me. I've wanted to get into Dragoneer for a long time, but I think that a questionable anime adaptation of the most recent game in the franchise is not how I'm going to do it.
Well, I don't think you need to play any of the
is it
Dragon
Nier
Guard
Automata like the most like removed from the series?
Yes, but I want to do it that
standalone
way.
It still doesn't mean, so you're just out on watching this because you'd rather experience it through video game form. Okay, that's a valid take.
That's fine.
But this is definitely one of the biggest shows this season, and it would feel as an anime pundit wrong not to at least give it a try. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, same.
All right, next up. We're back to just more isekai. Okay, so this is Ningen Fushin no Boukensha-tachi ga Sekai Suku Yodesu, which is like something like about the world hates me, or I can't actually remember the English name.
Adventurers who don't believe in humanity will save the world.
Yeah. So I believe this is actually extremely similar to the premise of one of the shows last season. A guy gets kicked out of his adventuring party by his other party members for some reason, and then ends up finding a bunch of other people that also just got kicked out at a bar, and they decide that they're going to get together and be their own party and move on because they're jaded and they hate the world or whatever. So this is definitely like a Konosuba knockoff. It's trying to kind of go for that sort of fantasy comedy vibe. I will say the trailer was okay. I just doubt that it's going to be executed in a way that works or is particularly good or funny. And I think it is leaning more as a generic action show and not a comedy also. I don't know. I have no strong feelings about this one.
I'm fine missing out on this unless Tim says it's that heat.
The show was like, this is another thing where the show doesn't really feel like it's trying to be a comedy. The only comedic gag in the show is like after the guy gets kicked out of the party, he becomes like an idol fan. But like, that's really the only gag in the show. And it didn't even last that long. So it's much more of a traditional action show. It's like, I have to give it credit at least that it stays kind of true. Like the whole thing is that all Jaden don't trust each other, which leads into some like really like kind of awkward conversation because they're like, how do I trust you kind of thing. But Isekai goes pretty normal. They're really leaning into the whole like we don't trust each other dealio. Well, like the first episode was like interesting to care. The second episode's like, oh, I don't trust you. And maybe by the third episode they'll like move on and do something interesting. But so far it's pretty normal, nothing too special.
This just doesn't seem to stand out that much to
same.
me. I don't know. There's so much It doesn't stand out from the soup, the fantasy soup this season.
Just drowns in it.
No particular interest in eating more oatmeal.
Next up is
Nokemono-tachi no Yoru. This is the Ancient Magus Bride. If you have read or seen the Ancient Magus Bride, it is basically the exact same thing. There's a wayfish girl with no family, getting sold into slavery, getting picked up by a hot demon, presumably magical adventures will follow. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys.
This one is made by furries. If you couldn't tell by the wolf with a choker on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is the big sexy man for the. Or actually, no,
I'm talking about the guy on the left. The big sexy man's the red one. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, there are. I guess if you're a furry and you've already seen the Ancient Magus Bride, maybe. But like, I don't know. I kind of fell off the Ancient Magus Bride after a while, and this one seems worse than that. So.
Yeah. The trailer wasn't particularly special. How old is the girl? Is she like young? She looks younger than Chisei is in Magus Bride.
Yeah, I think she's pretty young. I don't know.
She's pretty young.
Is it said that there's a romance?
Like
because in the trailer, it looked like this is like setting off major alarm bells if they're going to try to make it a romance. Because she's tiny and he's huge.
It's Victorian England, baby.
I guess so. Damn.
I don't think there's gonna be a romance. At least I hope not.
It's one of the tags is romance.
No, God.
Drama, fantasy, romance. So.
Well, Mao doesn't have romance, so
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't love the way this one looks.
Yeah,
so,
me neither. The art style really turns me off.
It's not very good. I don't like the guy's face. I think it's a really weird in-between of like anthro and human that doesn't really work. And there's also literal anthros in the show too, so it's kind of like, why are we not committing? I don't know. I have no strong feelings about this one.
Tim,
I'm not a
seen
furry.
episode 1?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your thoughts?
Pass.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's go.
Nice, perfect.
Oh God, Jesus Christ in heaven! I don't want to. Hey Logan, tell me about this
how
one.
do you think I feel? I had to read it. Okay, I don't. Okay, so this is like a combination.
Tell me the title.
Onii-chan wa
Oshimai. It is, according to Mark, an untranslatable Japanese pun. I think it's been officially localized as
I'm now your sister.
Yeah, wonderful. So it's a combination, like, neat restoration gender bender manga. And
is it the third one?
Yes, this is it.
One.
This is, we have finally found the third piece of the Triforce. And this, if that, there is nothing for you there if the words that I just said don't, like, rev your engines. Like, it's not much of a comedy. It's not much of an actual, like, there's not any good characters or anything in it. It's just like, this is, how do I say this without getting us demonetized? This is pornography.
I was going to say, Logan, how bad is the manga?
Okay.
How much does it show off a naked 8-year-old's body?
It's funny because it doesn't do it at all for, like, the first 2 chapters. And then in the 3rd chapter, you get, like, the, like, blurred lines that, or what's it called? The like, like the bathroom scene with the bright lights that cover exactly one thing. Yeah. It shows it off a lot in that chapter and never before it. And it was just really jarring because at first I was like, how ecchi is this actually?
Everything that I've heard about this is that the anime plays up that a lot more than the manga does, and enough that a lot of people that had read the manga were like surprised. Tim can confirm or deny this one. I think this one is bordering on child porn. Like, I don't want to be like super harsh, but like, she's young. She's like 8, right? She's like,
the guy's like,
no, that doesn't fucking matter. He's in a body of an 8-year-old, like an elementary schooler girl. She's young. She's like younger than middle school, I think. So it's like, and it is deeply sexualized. I have seen, and it's like it's all about like, isn't there a bunch of the first thing that's about her like pissing or whatever, and like, how do I pee in this body or whatever?
That was less Coomer than I thought it was going to be.
They glanced through that quickly.
Well, either way, there's still a bathing scene, and I've seen the screenshots of it. It's bad. So I think this kind of anime is disgusting, and I'll be honest. I think that the fact that Studio Bind made it is a huge knock against them for me. Like, they were a really new, promising studio coming out with one of the best shows of the last couple of years, and their follow-up, their sophomore project is this shit, which just means that they're willing to work on this and put like effort into a show like for people that are into this kind of thing, which I just don't think should be getting made. I hate this kind of anime. It makes me like disappointed in the medium in general, and because I think a lot of people associate these kinds of shows with it, and I just kind of wish they weren't getting made.
But Chris, what if this ends up being like late registration? You know?
Haha. Thanks, Juan. What a joke.
So yeah, Ecchi Bros. I don't know. Like,
I would genuinely. I have like moral objections to y'all watching the show more than the other ones. I'm not kidding.
I think this is a Mark push. Like, I'll check out
I don't think
episode
he's
1.
There's really like, there's really not that much ecchi as much as you would think in the show. Like, it is rich in Eiyuu-ou, and they do like, take a bath with the lines, but they don't really like push it anywhere near like the amount they could push it. At least at the point where I'm comfortable watching yet.
I don't know. From what I saw, it looked pretty bad. Enough that
I'm sure 4chan just took the screenshots out of context and like in a big fuss.
Well, no,
like
I think with the camera, if the camera emphasizes it, it's an intentional thing, and they like put it in there for a reason. They know what they're doing. They know the audience.
Did the exact same thing with the Akiba Sailor thing with the feet.
Well, that was weird
on
too.
Screen, they have like one shot. It's on screen for like 0.2 seconds.
That show had some other weird shit in it too.
Feet. I mean, granted, the manga had a lot of feet, but like the anime, really did not put that much emphasis on feet.
I don't think this show's worth defending. I don't know. Like, did you like it? Do you want to watch it? Like,
I like to point out that there is, she is 8 and all some like weird scenes that like she is a kid, but like I don't think they're like really pushing really hard for that angle. Like, it could be like a million times worse.
Of course, yeah, obviously, and there are worse anime than this. I think this will average out on just kind of a boring comedy. But
they're keeping it pretty tame is all I'm saying.
They advertise it as he's like an eroge loving guy, and he's like much older, and then he wakes up in a girl's body. Like, that's just icky.
Like,
icky vibes. So this next one is called Oyukumi no Kaina. So this is Polygon, who is one of the more notable CGI only studios. They made a bunch of other shows like that and that are full CGI. This is such a mixed bag for me, because dude, if this was a 2D anime, I think this would be one of the coolest shows this season. The visuals are like the backgrounds and everything, and there's a lot of cool, interesting visual flair going on. So the premise is that there is a big ocean of snow, and people live around the roots of trees to stay warm. And it's about two characters that meet from different sides, like one's in the surface and one's in the roots, and they meet and there's like an adventure going on. I think that this studio is not very good at CGI animation, which is unfortunate. Like, it just sucks that we're at this level compared to some of the other ones, like all the idol shows that are really just killing it, and then stuff like Orange, obviously, which we'll talk about later. It's just really not on the level from the preview. I still may push through and watch it if there's enough merit going on. I wished it looked better because it could be a lot cooler.
I think the CGI is totally fine.
Okay.
Like,
the trailer.
The last 3 works, the Ukami, Aesop, and the Drifting Dragons, all very passable CGI stuff. Like,
I just don't like the facial animation. It's lazy. They don't do enough. That's my biggest problem.
I just watched the trailer, and it seemed like it kind of just flattened out the colors on the main character. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of like shading or shadow, or it just kind of flattened out the colors on all of their faces and everything. And I didn't really like that. I don't know that I feel like if this were better drawn, I would be way more interested in it. But like, as it stands, it looks like a show that is kind of banking off being pretty, and it's not that pretty.
Yeah.
After Studio Orange, this is like the only other studio that does CGI like consistently and decently.
And I give them credit for that. And I want more development into that. I just wish that they could learn how to like make their shows look a little less ugly.
I mean, they gotta make shows to practice. They
Yeah.
got shot somewhere.
They've been a studio since 1989.
Well, no, they didn't used to
Yeah,
do
but they
CGI
haven't done
one.
CGI
Yeah, that was a
since-
pivot they did in like the mid 2010s. But anyway,
No, more
was it
like
earlier?
mid 2015. Like
Okay.
Ajin was like
Knights
the
of
first
Sidonia was
CGI
their,
stuff.
like, big CGI.
Sidonia
Yeah.
and Aijin were the ones
Which
I know.
is like at 10 years at this point. So
Yeah.
like you got to get better
2014.
at some point.
But I still think that this one looks interesting as a premise. I might check it out and see if it's worth.
I
good.
don't really care. I'm fine missing out on this.
If you're a lame person that can't get over little CGI, then like,
And that's the
whatever,
other thing too.
concepts, whatever.
I've usually been a big proponent of like trying to support it and people that I think people are too harsh on CGI and anime. Like they have been hurt by other shows that do it really poorly, and so they every single time they see CGI in anime, even if it's done well, they're like, whoa, like in Chainsaw Man. So I
people, people complain Chainsaw Man. People also complain Trigun.
yeah.
I really,
Well, that's
fuck
that's
those
insane.
people.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? That all the footage I've seen looks incredible. We'll talk about.
Well,
that
like
later.
the point is that no matter like how good the CGI is going to be, like if this the word CGI, a lot of like most people are just going to be like gross, awful.
right.
so-
And I'm trying to not be that.
I'm not most people. The reason I don't want to watch
Well-
the show is because like the premise doesn't interest me and the art style doesn't interest
The premise
me.
does seem cool to me, but we'll see.
The angel next to us spoils me rotten. This one's not much going on. It's like guy, normal high school guy, and then like the popular perfect girl in school somehow lives next door to him, and for some reason she takes a like intense interest in him, and she like take care of him by like cooking him food or cleaning his room, and that's basically the premise so far.
I am not the target audience for this anime.
Neither am I.
I think
Zero
that
interest.
there was one reviewer at A&N that went a little bit more into the details, and it's like it's a show about like he has some trauma, and his parents like he's living alone for the first time and not coping with
There's
it well.
like none of that's in the anime. I don't
Yeah,
know where you're
I think
saying
this is from the original light novel that they're talking about. I don't know. I guess if you're into these kinds of romances, but I am not the target audience. I don't need wish fulfillment shows about hot girls doting on me and cooking me food.
That's
Now,
really
hot-
high up, number 13.
Now,
Damn.
hot boys doing it, like in Romantic Killer. Now we're talking.
On any
On
chart, at
overall,
least.
yeah, I can
Yeah.
see why people might enjoy a show like this. I'm sure it looks fine, and the production values are decent. But like, dude, I don't give a shit. And especially if Tim, who likes romance shows like this sometimes, is not that into it, that's not a good sign either.
It's fine. Like it's cute and well done enough. It's just that's really all the show has so far.
Let's do Revenger.
Actually, real quick,
Oh, okay.
Pocket Monsters, Pokemon, baby. It's the farewell tour for Ash Ketchum. I have not been keeping up with the Pokemon anime, but like my Twitter fucking loves the Pokemon anime because I just follow a lot of Pokemon people, and I seeing like this last season out of context and then now this, I kind of want to watch this final season.
Yeah,
like,
I might
just,
as well.
just for like
Mhm.
Ash saying like farewell to everyone. Like he's done it. He's become the very best, like no one ever was.
Yeah, just for emotional, nostalgic reasons, closing out a show that I think was
Mhm.
really important to us as kids. I think it's worth checking out. I've also heard the Pokemon anime since the switch up with directors and style
Yeah,
and Sun and
since
Moon.
Sun and Moon.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about the Pokemon anime. So it'll be nice to maybe get a little bit of that at the very end and kind of see it off.
Yeah, maybe I'll give this a shot.
All right. Well, now we can move on to Revenger.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim, for Revenger.
Ooh, Revengers seems fun just because of the fact that it's like a historical samurai show, which we almost never get these days. The premise basically is this guy. It's your traditional like Japanese thing where like the samurai gets told to kill a bunch of people, and then in the end they try to kill the samurai to silence him, but he like survives the killing, and he goes out and gets revenge on the people who try to kill him. And you have these like ninja folks who help him out along the way. It's a pretty traditional story, but like I said, just the fact that we are getting a semi show in this day and age is a nice touch, and it's pretty well done as well. So
Yeah,
it gets some good points in my book.
I'm down to check out a cool original samurai show like this. Oh, also the big thing about this one, So Gen Urobuchi wrote the, I think, concept very early in his career, actually. This is not a recent thing he did. This is one of the first things he wrote, apparently. So if it feels like a Gen Urobuchi thing, it's because it was. And I think a lot of the tropes that he has there are present in this, but it's because it was one of his first things, which is interesting. So
that man really loves writing concepts and then not writing out the story.
Yeah. Hey, there's some good concepts though.
This is like the 6th one.
I don't know. He does it a lot, but he's a writer and not an anime maker. You know, that's
I know,
he writes books and stuff. So,
but this is like the 6th anime based on a concept that he makes.
Yeah, well, he's a big name, and so anime projects like attaching themselves to big names is a good way to market it. But this one looks solid, and again, I think that just cool original anime, samurai. I'm down. The trailer was cool.
Yeah.
This one, again, good trailer is enough to get me interested most of the time for this season. So I'm down to check it out.
Tim, is it a pretty boy show?
No.
Okay, because the key art is giving me pretty boy.
What's with you and pretty boy?
Pretty boys turn me off.
Yeah. That's not what you. Hey, I was gonna say that's also not what you've said in the past.
I tend to not like pretty boy shows when like it just focuses on how pretty.
Well, I mean, clearly this is is Samurai Champloo a pretty boy show one? Like, I feel like we're asking the same questions here. Okay.
A little bit.
Hey, the next one is Rogo ni Sonate Isekai de 8 Manmai no Kinka wo Tame Masu, which is something along the lines of like, I'm saving up 80,000 in the other world.
For my retirement.
This premise is cool, and I don't think the execution seems like it's very good. But maybe the premise is enough to carry. So I don't know the exact mechanics, but this main character girl is given the ability to transport herself freely between both the human world and the isekai world, which is already like different than most because you're usually stuck in the isekai world. And so she decides, like a true capitalist, that she is going to use it to make paper. And she's going to introduce some human objects into the fantasy world and make money, which is gold, which she can then bring back to the human world. And then just like sell because it's gold, and make big bucks in both worlds. And a lot of the comedy I think comes in her teleporting power, which I think seems to be a little bit sporadic as to where and when she's going to show up when she goes back and forth. And that seems to be played up very highly in the trailers. The production values on this do not look good. It's kind of ugly. I don't know how to feel about this one, but bonus points for like a decent premise maybe. I don't know how the execution is going to be.
I don't really have any words for this. Like, it's an isekai. It's
she's got a gun.
She do have a gun.
Chris pretty much nailed it. Pretty cool concept, kind of interesting, but like the animation and like follow through execution was a little bit disappointing. But it was only been one episode. Maybe it will get better.
Even the poster for it just looks kind of flat.
Yeah, just let us know if this is interesting, I guess.
Yeah, the animation is kind of flat, which was kind of disappointing because I was kind of looking forward to the show based on like the whole concept.
Oh, well.
We can go on.
All right. Who's doing the next one?
I am.
Congratulations.
Saikyo Onmoji no Isekai Tenseisu, or the reincarnation of the strongest exorcist in another world. Boy, oh boy, it's another fucking power fantasy isekai.
Yep.
Yay.
God, I'm so tired of these. I guess this guy, he set up... Oh, he set up a spell to reincarnate, and then he reincarnates into this other world. I don't care. I really don't.
It's like that he was an exorcist.
This one's kind of like an interesting kind of like mixed match because like they combine like yokais and exorcism with like your like normal isekai magic. So it's like magic meets yokai, which not a super like crazy new idea or like that game changing, but like, you know, kind of neat that they did that. But the exorcist was like betrayed in his old age, and he was like, I'll be better. I won't like depend on people anymore, trust people. And then he like reincarnates and he can't use magic and they make fun of him, but he has this like exorcist power. He summons familiars and becomes OP. So pretty standard. Just like the only twist is really just the fact that there's yokais and isekai now.
I will
Cool.
I will say it up front that I have no interest in the show at all, but I thought that this of all the isekai trash this season had some of the better visuals in the trailer. Like there was some visual flair and thought put into the shot composition. That is my biggest praise. Otherwise, this seems incredibly generic, and I don't care at all.
Logan?
Nope.
Any thoughts?
Nope.
Yeah.
What thoughts are left for anime like these?
True. This next one is more interesting. So Juan, why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, Spy Classroom. To me, like just from reading the synopsis, it sounds a lot like Assassination Classroom, where like they're like training to like become these like spies in a classroom.
To me, it sounded a lot more like Princess Principal from the preview, but I don't know which one it is more like.
Tim, you've seen the first episode. Why don't you tell us which one is more like?
So going in and watching the PV, I thought it was going to be a Princess Principal kind of show. And I was really excited because it looked really cool. And then the first episode came out and it was like an ass class situation instead.
Cool, so a little bit both.
No, it's
more ass
just
class.
It's more ass class? Okay.
Cool.
It's ass class. And it's like, for as cool as a concept as like the premises and how like well designed are the the characters designs on stuff, it's really like mediocrely done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of impressive how like mediocre they made this cool concept.
The trailer
Where they-
wasn't great. So
The first episode, the girl's like morbing out on a boat trying to kill her professor, but it like was really like poorly done.
okay, well, I was maybe gonna watch episode 1, but if that's the review, I may just completely skip this. I don't think this has.
Same with
Yeah,
me. Like, the character design is like kind of interesting, but like
It looks. I think if
that's the
it's a
episode
big
one
cast, and I doubt they're gonna flesh them out in any meaningful way, and it just
I think they're gonna do like one episode per girl.
yeah.
Because the first episode was just the one girl trying to.
I've
Kill
already
off.
seen Renai flops. I'm fine.
I don't think that's a comparison, but either way, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch episode 1. I have no idea. Oh god. Okay.
I'm less interested in watching episode 1.
All right, Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. I think this one's going to be decently popular this season. It's JC Staff doing, but it's another fantasy. This one's more of an otome fantasy instead of the other ones that are more isekai like action. I don't like the premise of this one at all. So I'm almost certainly not going to watch it, even if the aesthetics are kind of nice. I think that this anime is setting up a idea and it's trying to do some commentary, and I think it's going to fall completely flat on its face. So this is yet another slavery anime, but more so than the other ones where that's maybe just a background element to the world or like an introductory element. This one is pretty core to the whole thing. So fairies are enslaved in this world, and humans kind of abuse them and use them as their tools. But the main character, Anne, is different. She thinks that slavery is bad, except when it's convenient for her because she needs a bodyguard, so she buys a slave in episode 1, like this immediately. And so she buys Chale, who is a fairy bodyguard, who is the sexy purple-haired guy that you see in the background. And what I think it is trying to do, and she justifies it like, oh, I'm going to free him, so it's okay. But she then still, like, he's still her bodyguard. She's basically still working for her. It's the same dynamic. And what it seems like they're trying to do is show that Anne, the main character, is wrong. And, like, she's going to learn her lesson about, like, why, the very hard lesson of, like, why slavery is bad and why oppressing people is bad. But it I think is tainted. The core like metaphor is tainted by the fact that it looks like a extremely traditional otome like romance, like shoujo romance with all the shoujo tropes in there. And I think by the fact that you're making the slave and the master have a romantic relationship kind of just completely fucks over any metaphor you're trying to go for, because it introduces a weird power dynamic into it. I don't know. I might be off on my reading of this one, but not happy with it so far.
As
Tim,
usual,
I don't know.
romance ruins everything.
Shut up.
I don't think the show is doing like any commentary at all.
Okay,
This
well then
is
it's
like-
a lot stupider than I'm giving it credit for, which is worse.
This is like very much shoujo kind of thing where it's like girl gets this like cold, jaded guy, and only I can like open him up
Yeah.
to his feeling
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Very
I
generic
can
And like
fix
the
him.
guy, the amount of Kabadons in the show, the guy like Kabadons like 10 times in the first episode alone.
Oh,
It is like
no.
insane how many times he does it.
Get the Kabadon
And
counter
it's-
on the screen.
I really should, but it's very shoujo. It's very much better towards female audience. It's like very pretty guy, and she's like he's working for this girl, and she's trying to like win him over, and like trying to. It's the whole slave thing also rubs me off in a very like wrong way as
I
well.
really think if they just
Um,
didn't have that and they just like hired him as a bodyguard that she paid with money and didn't have that whole plot line, this would be a fine show. And that just makes it weird.
I think it would be like twice as good about the slavery because it is like very uncomfortable and weird to have all this like slave nonsense abuse going on throughout the show, and then you have this like happy like innocent like oh everything's fine, no need to slay people, and they're all just like getting beat up on the side,
Yeah.
and then the whole dynamic with the main guy and her is also like really weird. Yeah, just on that alone, it's towards the bottom of the barrel for me. I'm not a big fan of the setting and how they did this.
Yeah. So, anime, stop using this as a plot point if you don't know how to handle it. Just stop. No one wants it. I don't know why you keep doing it. We can have fantasy shows without having slavery as an element, or maybe for once we can have one that does something interesting with it. It has any kind of like commentary, but I don't know. I don't think that that's going to happen. I'd rather them just stop using it. Okay, here, this is the hypest show of the season. Juan, tell us about it. Tell us what you think about it.
Why do you do this to me? Why is this on the list? Fucking whatever.
This new, baby.
I don't care. Techno Droid Overmind. It is a pretty boy show with male robot space idols. Dude, I don't fucking care.
Hey,
bro.
that sounded kind of cool when you said it like that.
I'm probably giving it way more credit. Tim,
Did you
am
watch
I giving
this?
it too much credit?
Probably.
What the fuck is this about? I could not tell from the trailer. I like
It's a bunch of idle like AIs who like need to get a job because apparently they need like electricity to charge themselves, and they get kidnapped and they will die. So they like join this like idol show and this like talent show and become idols and they sing, and it's like very generic and also very like badly animated and poorly done, except for the very end. The very end is crazy. Slight spoilers, I guess, but I don't think
we
really
care.
nobody's gonna
Yeah,
watch
we're
it.
not gonna watch
But, like,
this.
It's this whole like traditional like oh we'll be idols kind of help thing, and then the very last episode they like see a bunch of like robots taking care of a drunk guy on the street, and then they like kill the drunk guy at the very end. They push him in like in lava or something. He dies, and it's like what the fuck? What the actual fuck did I just watch? It went from this like happy-go-lucky idol competition to like robots like killing humans, and I'm like, what is this twist? What is this show?
Cool.
I'm probably not gonna watch it anymore, but like that was a really, really like weird twist at the end.
Okay.
All right.
Tim, this is
Yeah.
obviously classically bad, but as Studio Gohan's biggest fan, I have to ask, is this like so bad it's good, perhaps? Is this like crazy enough that I might enjoy it in the same way I enjoyed Handshakers?
Probably not. I'll let you. Maybe I'll give it
Man.
like 2 more episodes to let you know. But like,
Oh man,
You
Tim
don't
is
have to
watching
do
2
that
more
for me.
episodes for you.
You don't have to do that for me, man.
it was so mediocre.
The good news is I think we have a better one coming up as well, which you are also doing.
Yes, I was telling you about that show. I remember. Yeah.
All right, tell us about
Okay,
it.
let's
Tim.
move on.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hit it when we get to the show.
It's
Is it not
next.
this one?
Tensei Ojo, Tensai Reijo,
Oh,
Maho.
let's talk about the other idol one.
Oh, no. Sorry. I'm talking about
No.
the princess show.
The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess and the Genius Young Lady. Tell
So
us about
this
it, Tim.
one's technically an isekai, but I really wish it's basically
I think you could
non-isekai.
ignore it. Yeah, I think you could ignore the fact.
Yeah, you can largely basically ignore it's isekai. It's basically just a fantasy show about this. So it's first of all, it's a Yuri fantasy show, and it's the whole thing where you have she's got your Genki princess who like who got reincarnated, but she doesn't actually get reincarnated because she like doesn't have memories. She just has like vague images. So like because she saw planes, she wants to fly and stuff. So she's like this very quirky Genki character who also like can't use magic. That's also a thing. So they like shun her as like a normie person. And then you get to you have her, and then you have her brother who's a complete asshole, and he's like engaged to like this perfect girl, but she like hates her for some goddamn reason. And the show basically premises like he like what's the word? Cuts off, cancels the engagement, and instead the Genki Yuri character comes in to like sweep off her feet and ask her to marry her instead. And you get this like Yuri romance thing going on. I kind of like the main character a lot. I think she's like 90% of what's on the show. They did her really well, and I think they're going to do the Yuri justice as well.
This was easily one of the best trailers I watched, which was really surprising because it's like the 8th or 10th isekai bullshit fantasy that we saw. But there is a lot of like actual care going into this production. I like the main character a lot just from the trailer. What Tim said, she seems really fun. There seem to be interesting character dynamics. I think it's about like them two collaborating together to make like magic technology and like based on her.
The premise is like she's going to like promote the magical things, and she's like the Shun princess, and she's like the perfect noble lady. So they're gonna work in together and have her like help promote her like magical tools.
Yeah. So
yeah,
there's enough going on. I think it's an interesting premise. I think this one is kind of catering to my interests. I think in the same way that a lot of other these types of shows do. This seems very Chris core. So I'm
very
definitely
Yuri
in.
bait. Yeah.
It's not just that. It's just like the kind of character dynamics that are going on. I tend to like. So
it's not just Yuri bait because it's actual Yuri, I believe, based on the tags. We'll see. We have that to look forward to. And they get pretty like. By episode 2, they're basically where most Yuri bait shows end.
Hey.
So I look forward to the progression that they have throughout the show.
But aside from the Yuri, I think there is some meat on these bones. And again, maybe I'm easily impressed because most of the rest of the fantasy shows this season look terrible. But this ended up being one of the shows I was the most looking forward to checking out. I've heard other good things, like other people talking about this as well, both the light novels and the anime.
Like I said, I think it's with the main girl who just like mostly carries the show.
She's just a fun, girl.
Really good main character to have.
So how do you two feel?
Yeah, from this, I don't particularly care that much. You can watch episode 1 without me. If you tell me it's that heat, I'll check it out, I guess.
What are the odds we can get Logan to watch this?
If you watch episode 1 and you tell me it's that heat, I'm going to ignore you for several weeks, and then you're going to complain at the awards show that I didn't watch it.
We'll see. We'll see what the plate is.
I am hoping for you that for once a Yuri show does actually deliver, but
I was happy with Lycaris.
When was the
Yuri shows this year alone? So Chris has a lot of
there's some good ones coming up that I think have some shots, but we'll see. Anyway, excited. Okay, the next one up is The Legend of Heroes Sen no Kiseki Northern War, which is the Trail of Cold Steel game adaptation.
Oh.
I don't think any of us have played this game or really any of these games in these series. This is like a cult classic series.
I follow someone on Twitter who's just like obsessed with those games.
I know some people that are too, and from what I heard from them, this is a bad adaptation.
Half of the anime is like dialogue. Basically,
most of the game is dialogue too.
Yeah, so it has some weird pacing issues where like half of it's just characters talking and like giving exposition to the show, and the other half there's like some like half decent animation going on, but like I don't know, it just feels very jarring, going back and forth between dialogue all the time.
I assume if you're a fan that you'll check it out. Hey, this is a big one.
Hey, Tokyo Revengers Season 2. I enjoyed Season 1. I tried to read the manga. I never got around to it, but I'm excited to see this. Other boys?
Tokyo Revengers, I feel kind of similarly to it as I feel the Demon Slayer. Like, I don't get why it is like that popular, but it's good, and I'm kind of looking forward to season 2.
They're not popular in the same way, but I completely understand why people like Tokyo Revengers. It's a Fujo bait show. They like the boys. They think the boys are hot and they want them to kiss. But aside from that, it's a decently compelling gang war type of show with a cool premise. And I think that this manga is probably a lot better than this anime. I have been pretty consistently disappointed with the adaptation, but it's watchable and I can follow the plot and there's enough going on that I think that I'll keep up with this season of it as well. I'm like enough invested in the narrative that I will watch season 2.
Wait, Chris, I've told you that I read the manga like up to where season 1 ends.
Yeah,
and like a lot of it's just like the same. Like,
yeah, but the art's better. Like I don't know. Maybe not.
I'd say like it's like on par. Like maybe like the manga's like a little bit better. Maybe it gets better like as it goes on, but like the early part just feels like the same quality.
This is not the best looking anime of all time. The fights aren't great, and it's just it's a little bland. But
have you read the manga, Chris?
No.
Okay.
This is just based on the first season. Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't read the manga the first season either, right?
No, I haven't read any of the manga.
Gotcha.
Do you have any thoughts on the season 2 since you started it?
I mean, it's basically more season 1.
Okay.
Cool.
I would say it's been a hot second, and I'm wanting to like refresh what happened because season 2 started. I'm like, I don't remember half the things that just
yeah.
they're talking about.
I mean, season 1 ended in a very particular way that has not left my mind since.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that resolves, but
I don't think I remember who's who was the main thing.
Nah,
I think the cast
maybe a little wiki refresh. There are a lot of characters.
I don't.
Okay.
A wiki refresh sounds a way to get Juan spoiled.
True. All right. Next up, Logan. Tell us about this other hit manga that you're gonna watch.
Tomo-chan wa Ononoko is really bad. Honestly, this was not good. I promise you this is not me being a black-hearted person who doesn't like romance. The jokes in this, it was literally the same joke over and over and over again 20 times. I made it through 20 of the like little 4-coma chapters that they have. It was just the same thing over and over and over again. It wasn't funny. I was in a call with Chris when I was reading it. He didn't hear me laugh once. Which is really weird because I'm very easy to make laugh. It's not that hard to at least get a chuckle out of me. But there was just nothing here. It's just like, oh, she tries to do something girly and he doesn't notice. I have never seen with my eyes anyway a manga or an anime that is carried this hard by a single character design because it feels like all anybody seems to like about Tomo is Tomo. And you know, just browser Pixiv tags. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
This is a really popular manga. Like I saw people talking about it like years ago, and I actually picked it up and read some of it because I was just curious. You know, the art design's good. Her design is nice. And I kind of agree with Logan. I didn't really like it at all. I thought it was boring and repetitive, and I didn't see any chance of meaningful progression anytime soon, and I think that's been confirmed because I've seen people talking about it like in the late stages of the manga, and it does not seem like much has changed. So I don't like I am sure this is a perfectly fine anime, and if you're into this kind of genre, you will like it. I'm sure this will be really popular. I have problems with romances that are really long and have no development. Like I do not like nisekoi at all, and I think this is very much in that vein. So I will probably not be watching this. I don't know how.
I'm gonna at least give it a chance. Like there's a chance that it's like Shikimori, where it's like it's hyped up to like all hell, and then it just kind of falls flat. The execution falls flat. There's a chance of that, but like I'm more willing to give this a shot.
Tomo feels like reverse romantic killer.
Oh. Okay.
Like the premise feels the same, except it's like instead of like her not wanting to fall in love, she wants to fall in love, and it's the guy who's like oblivious and doesn't get it. But it kind of does feel like it's like a tomboyish kind of good kind of thing. The only thing is like the comedy isn't as on the high end because like one thing that made Romantic Killer so good was like the facial expression or like how like over the top it went sometimes, and this one doesn't quite do that. but that's kind of the vibe I get from the first episode. How the rest of the show would go, I can't really say. But I mean, first episode was fine. I'm not like condemning it as like a useless show that would never go anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't want to
sure
condemn it either. I'm sure I think fine is probably a good metric for how this is going to be. I'll watch episode 1 just to see if maybe the anime gives it more of a glow up. But like I said, I wasn't a fan of the manga chapter that I read.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be at your bros.
It's like I said, this manga is very popular. So I think it might just be because people are horny for the tomboy girl, which like I get it. Hey,
Yes.
but we'll see.
I really like this Pics of Tags comment. That's really
that was good. All right. Next up, Tim, would you like to tell us about Mappa's first venture into Isekai?
Is that the first?
Oh,
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yes, Isekai. I will say that if you guys watch it and you guys like it, then you guys are all hypocrites because this show is basically as like generic of an Isekai plot you can get.
Oh, really?
The only difference is on my Mappa and the quality is a little bit higher, but like the plot line is basically like straight out of like a normal Isekai where it's like a guy gets Isekai, they think he's useless because all he can do is cooked, but then it finds out his cooking ability is like super useful and he becomes kind of overpowered. And that's basically the premise of it. Like it doesn't do anything super new and original. It's just like a higher than average animated show because it's Mappa. So
this is another one of those shows that's like, damn, anime food looking so good. You see those viral tweets or whatever. That is all I got from this trailer because I will admit the food in this show looks incredible. Like they spend a lot of time animating it. Nice.
The animation quality is definitely the high end because it's Mappa, but like as far as like the show story and the plot, it's basically as average isekai as you can get. So if you guys watch it and you're like, this is a fun show, I'm having a good time, then I'm gonna call you guys out because this is basically as generic of isekai.
Doubt very seriously that we will enjoy this show. I can't tell any good reason to not just go and watch Isekai Shokudo instead, which is a similar premise that I think is told better from what I can tell. I don't know, man.
Isekai Shokudo,
the restaurant in another world. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that one's like comfy, and like this looks to be like an action show.
That was comfy was the vibe I got from the trailer on this one.
This one, I don't know. It seems a little bit more action oriented, but I would say you should watch Isekai instead of the Shokudo.
Which one's Isekai?
The Isekai, whatever it's called. Yeah, Isekai. That's literally what it's called.
Oh, Izakaya. Okay.
I remember that one coming out.
That's a better cooking show.
Okay.
Not as pretty, but like it actually has like a nice plot to it.
I mean, like I definitely want to check it out just because
I'll watch episode 1. Yeah, but I doubt we're gonna keep it up.
Like, it's not a bad show. It's just it is your standard isekai, which I mean, I'm fine with isekai.
One of the many this season. Yeah.
It's anything outstanding other than the animation quality.
Okay.
So
Logan, is Mappa enough to get you interested or not?
There are some studios I will follow into the abyss. Mappa is not one.
Yeah, Mappa made some stinkers. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Logan.
Speaking of studios that I would follow into the abyss, not that this is the abyss. I'm actually really excited for Trigun Stampede. So Trigun is like a sci-fi space western. I guess I would call it retro future because it's a lot of people using revolvers and also this like kind of weird super space technology. The premise of it basically is that Vash the Stampede, the main character, it has a $6 billion double dollar bounty on his head. On this weird desert planet, and you're kind of following some side characters trying to figure out why, and also just when you encounter Vash, you'll start to realize that he's not really much of a gunslinger, or at least not much of a the kind of person you put a bounty on their head, and it's kind of going through his story, explaining why, he's being hunted. And then it gets into this like massive, crazy sci-fi plot kind of towards the middle. The manga is really good. I don't know. Well, the manga is really good, except the visuals sometimes get very cluttered and confused. I don't know how closely they're going to be sticking to the manga with this adaptation, because there's already like changes I can just from reading the premise.
It's a prequel, isn't it?
Yeah, is
no,
it a prequel?
it's a re-adaptation.
I
And
was
it
like,
does go off.
It could not be a
Pretty
prequel
quick.
from the way
Okay,
they're
I
describing
misunderstood
it
what
here.
this was. I genuinely thought this was a prequel. So this is
I
just
also thought
another.
this was a
This is
prequel,
just
yeah.
another
Mhm.
take on it
Mhm.
that's different than the
Yes.
original manga. Okay.
And it's already very different from the original.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
that's
Like-
that's interesting in its own right, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I-
Studio
You guys finished
Orange.
Trigun,
so-
right?
We
Or
are
did you not
we're
finish
so that's the
Trigun?
thing. Me and Logan are in the middle of it right now. We are going to try
Mhm.
to watch it before we start this. So we'll have to really bang it out pretty soon.
In the middle of the anime, I've finished the manga.
Yeah, Logan's read the
But-
whole manga, but I wanted to watch the
Mhm.
original before I watched this one, which so far has been a great decision. I love it so far. It's
Mhm.
incredible.
The original
but-
anime came out like when, like 90
yeah,
something?
95, somewhere in
Yeah.
that range, 98.
So,
Yeah.
But look, like Logan said, I will watch everything Studio Orange makes. I don't care how bad it is. Maybe if it's terrible. But
I mean, they haven't made anything
no,
bad yet,
this is
right?
no, they haven't. It's
Did
been
you guys watch Squilla SP?
oh no, we have not watched that. But that's like not a
I
full
don't even know what that
feature
is.
or anime.
That's
it
a
the shorts?
That's a full feature show.
Oh.
Which one was
It was
that? Was
13
that
episodes.
was that
How did I miss
before?
It was Bones and Orange in 2021.
Was this one of the
What?
Netflix ones?
Weird. I don't remember this.
How did I miss this?
Oh, Godzilla. Yeah.
Yes,
I
it
would
was
like
Oh,
to.
Bones,
Godzilla.
Orange.
I forgot that Orange worked on this.
So did I.
But that's different because that's a collab, and that's mainly just them working on the Godzilla animation. I heard this was all right. But yeah,
Where'd
I
you
mean, it's not just a
Dimension
good
W?
Bones, which you also so big
I do
fan
like
of.
Bones, but they've made some bad stuff too. Anyway, I should go back and watch that at some point. But as far as their full CGI projects, which is more what I was referring to, I have just been a huge fan watching the studio grow into what they've become, and this trailer looks so fucking good, dude.
It looks really nice.
The animation looks like they are just kind of pushing the medium, and we're gonna to get a cool like film quality CGI anime that is about a cool franchise like Trigun. Very neat, I will admit. So I think
Yeah,
this is
well-
definitely one of the most hype shows this season for sure.
One small thing I'm disappointed in is like it's neat that they're changing it. I'm just mad that we've never got like a real ass adaptation of the original Trigun, because the original Trigun anime is kind of a Full Metal Alchemist situation where they made the anime while in the middle of the manga being made. So it's not the same as the manga, and the manga has some visual problems that I want an anime to come along and correct them without changing other things.
Yeah,
So I'm a little bit sad, but ultimately this looks really good, and it's not changing, as far as I know anyway, the core of what makes Trigun good. So.
I mean, we'll see. This one, I think we could maybe be disappointed in long term, but
It's very much still Trigun, but it is also like doing its own thing. Like we met Knives in episode 1 already.
oh wow.
Mero is like not in the show.
no,
I
it's
think-
Millie.
Is she?
Millie is not in the show, which I was gonna
Millie's
ask. I was
on the
like,
show,
"Where's
sorry.
Millie? Why is she
Yeah.
not there?" That's my girl.
Millie's
right
on the
there.
show. Knives is introduced. Vash is actually kind of OP.
I mean, Vash is
Well,
OP in
Vash
the
was
original.
OP
He just
before,
chooses not
yeah.
to be. Yeah, but
Well, no, he's OP without using his special thing. There's this one scene where he shoots a single bullet and solves everything,
hey,
and it was kind of cool.
Sick.
But like ultimately, like CG is really well done. It was a very fun show. I'm like totally fine with how Orange has been doing so far. Highly recommend.
yeah, probably one of the premier ones. I would say even if you have never seen Trigun the original before, this is probably a good place to just dip your toes in and see how it is. Especially if you like
Yeah.
Beastars and Hoseki, which are shows
I mean-
y'all should watch if you haven't.
It's a readaptation, so you can totally
Just
do
hop
your
in.
own thing.
Yeah,
without
I'm going
watching.
in completely blind. I haven't seen the original.
And that's
so-
totally fine.
Yeah, and I honestly, if I had known that it wasn't a prequel, I don't know why I thought it was a prequel before, but that's
no,
why
but
I
I
wanted to.
could have sworn
I
people
swear,
said it
that's
was
what
a
I
prequel.
thought. I thought too. So that's
No.
why I watched why I'm watching the other one. I still want to finish it. I still want the frame of reference, but
Mm-hmm.
From the very beginning, it was established as its own thing.
yeah, must have the wires got crossed somewhere, but still
Yeah,
very
somewhere.
very exciting, and definitely one of the most hype shows. Okay,
Quit being a CG hater and
Yeah.
watch shows.
Hey.
It'll look good,
watch Hoseki.
especially when it's Studio Orange.
Uh,
Watch Hoseki no Kuni.
Yeah, Tim, would you like to tell us about the next one, Tsundere Akiyu Reijo?
Oh, the Akuyaku
Yeah.
villainous one.
Yeah.
Endo and Kobayashi live, the latest on Tsundere villainous Lysolette? How do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be a trend for villainous shows. We had one last season. We have one this season. It seems like your normal Tome villainous thing, except for like the whole gag of the show is that like the people playing the Tome game can actually like interact with the characters. So like the characters hears a voice and they treat us like the voice of God. And now like these two people have to like direct the main guy into like falling for the villainess so they can save her life because she like apparently dies in every single route in the game. So it's kind of like a fun like take on it, very kind of unique. I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, this one looks actually like, I think the gimmick is really interesting. It makes it really interesting that it's like, oh, they're playing the game. It's almost a little bit like Oji-san Isekai, the uncle from another world, where we're getting the sort of real world intermixed with the fantasy world, and there's some interaction there. So I think I'll watch episode 1 of this and see if I like it. I think it sounds like a cute little fun rom-com situation that's playing into the sort of fantasy shit too.
I think you'll like it, Chris, especially after last season when you gave up on
the princess show.
Ellie.
Yeah.
On Ellie, yeah.
I'm fine missing out on this. Like, the premise doesn't really interest me. The visuals don't interest me. One of the characters' name is Sigwald. Logan, you're in this show?
No, you're thinking of Sigurd. That's who I am.
Ah,
this
Sigurd.
Also, Logan
Smile
would never
Lab
be trapped in
Sigurd.
a romance.
Alright,
Silvermane,
season 2.
it's more Q&A. Like they picked up right from the start. I know a lot of people didn't watch this one.
This is the archery one,
Yeah,
right?
the archery
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Okay, archery pretty boys, which are my weakness of not wanting to watch.
Come on. Disappointed.
I'm just really happy to see
Expanded
a
Horizon.
Kyoani back. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
they're
great
back.
to see them making stuff again, even if it's stuff.
Like
I'm
I
less
was a little
interested in.
bit like apprehensive about watching the episode because I was like, oh, I wasn't a big fan of the show, and I like don't remember very much. But as soon as it started, I was like, damn, I forgot how good Q&A stuff was.
Yeah.
And I like sprued through the whole thing.
They can just elevate even stuff that might not be as good into something that is next level, just because they are some of the best people working in the industry. And it's just nice
Well,
seeing them back.
I'm a big fan of the archery stuff, especially because like Mickey did it for a while, stuff like that, and this archery is cool. It's just like I didn't remember very much of the show, and I was like, oh, maybe like I should wait to watch it. But like as soon as it started, it was like that didn't matter. All that mattered was just like how nice the show was.
Yeah.
Speaking of Q&A, they also announced a new anime project for Tamako. But I
Oh,
don't think you guys
wow.
have watched that either.
It's on the list. I want to watch everything that they've made at some point. So eventually I'll probably watch this too. All right. Next up is another Pretty Boy show. Wow. Okay, this one's called Unite Up. This is another male idol show, but it's from Cloverworks this time. And I think this one is a bit of a sort of drama idol show. This trailer looked really nice. It was like very well animated. I think that the show promises a little bit of drama there. Some of the reviews I read of this were very hot on it too, so normally I would not be the one to watch this type of show, but on the premise of maybe it being like a compelling drama, I will check it out if it seems okay. But I don't know. I think if I was bisexual, maybe I'd be really into this. However, I am not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, me and you constantly make gay jokes, but then when it actually comes up,
I'm
time to
not into
be
pretty
gay,
boys.
Nah. Well, I mean, you're more into Pretty Boys than I am. Like, you give Pretty Boys a shot.
Well, I watch good anime sometimes. One, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if it's decent. Anyway, Tim, is this decent?
Well, the CGI was generally very impressive. Very extremely well done. Storyline is like pretty generic, like guy sense it's being idol kind of show. He like joins an idol agency and be like, I want to become an idol, please help me. So not much there, but like I'm very, very like impressed with the production of it, and the songs are pretty nice.
Well,
Cool.
I don't know if that sounds
it's a
compelling
Pretty Boy
enough to get me to
so
watch it.
I don't really care.
It's an idol show, and it's a male idol show, so like it's a very narrow like audience that who's gonna watch it. Even me, like I might want to watch it, but there's like 3 other idol shows I need to get to ahead of it. Like I want to get through all of Idol 7, which is like 4 seasons or something. That's a lot.
Oh, you think there'd be like 7 of them?
Shut up.
Shut up. But
Logan?
What do you ask? What do you think he's gonna say about this?
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice in the way that Cloverworks shows always look nice. I don't know. I mean, there are other Cloverworks shows. I don't know. I'm not interested in.
End of the day, like it looks like a well animated male idol show, but like that's all it is. There's not much more.
So if that's your
so if you're into the idol shit, then watch it. Otherwise, I highly doubt it's gonna like change anyone's mind. Because the story seems very generic, so I can't really sell you there.
Rip. All right, we saved the best for last. Also because of the alphabet. Logan, would you like to tell us about this?
Okay, so I normally don't do sequels for the pre-read, but I felt the need to give everybody just a quick warning label for Vinland Saga Season 2. So if you like the parts of Vinland Saga that were like slow and philosophical and kind of character-driven, then I have great news about what's coming in Season 2. If you like the wacky ninja battles, I have terrible, terrible news about Season 2. It's
ninja battles in a Viking show?
I wouldn't call it ninja battles.
I think he's referring to Thorfinn jumping around.
Absolutely
yeah,
ninja.
I guess.
Thorfinn ninja.
He does not count as a Viking. He's jumping around with knives. He's a ninja. But anyway, this season, it's going to be slower. It's going to be an emotional journey. And as long as you're not expecting it to be like that same kind of, explosive, really exciting, violent thing that Season 1 could be, it's going to be really good. I like Farmland Saga a lot. But I just feel the need to prepare people for what's coming, because it is a shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the infamous farming arc, right?
Yes.
I would say famous more than infamous, but yeah.
Yeah. Season 2 is a huge tonal shift. It is much more slower and self-reflective and emotional. There's like hardly any action at all for this arc.
Based.
So just kind of
is there any action?
There are some fights. They get into fights on farms sometimes, but it's you're not going to be.
Little bit.
Thorfinn's not going to be like doing flips across a battlefield.
Thorfinn's like a completely different person at this point.
He goes
and
through
he's
going
to go on this like self-discovery growth throughout the season. There is the dream sequence that's gonna come up at some point, and I'm very looking forward to how they handle that.
Did you read the manga too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I own the manga one.
Oh yeah. Shit. Okay. I mean, I didn't know that. Is Thorfinn the one with the beard in the key art here?
No.
Yeah, maybe.
Up here.
No, it's not Thorfinn.
That's not Thorfinn? Okay.
No.
Oh, is it the other dude?
Yeah, that's Canute, I think.
Be a dude.
I mean, Canute's at bottom right.
Yeah.
Oh no, is that Canute? Oh no.
You mean the top left?
Yeah, I'm talking about top left. Is that Thorfinn?
Yeah, that's the new guy. Okay, you'll meet
That's
him
the
in
new
the
guy?
one.
Okay.
I think Thorfinn's in the middle, in the distance. Anyway,
episode 1 was pretty nice. They gave a lot more effort to the new guy than they did in the manga, I feel like. I don't think we got his whole like backstory like we did. But it was nicely done.
Tim, did you feel the studio shift in this one?
I was going to say, this is yet another Mappa Wit transition, which is crazy.
There is a shift in quality. I think it's probably for the better.
Good.
I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Because honestly, this is maybe Studio Wit's worst looking show. And that is not that big of a knock, because Wit has mostly made good looking stuff. But there were some moments in Season 1 that I thought were a little quality with the capital Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a little bit of CGI here and there that like stood out. But like, for the most part, it was okay.
I will say the slow contemplative moments of Season 1 were easily my favorite part, and so I'm in for that. I think a lot of people appreciate Vinland Saga for what it is. And like everyone, when people talk about it, it's all about like the more political stuff and then the relationships.
When people talked about it, they were mainly talking about Askeladd.
Yeah, and his arc.
At least towards the end. Yeah. And he's basically he's non-existent.
Yeah, he's dead.
So,
I mean, he's dead. Spoilers for Season 1.
Oh shit.
I didn't want to spoil it, but anyways.
I think
so it's
everyone
interesting to see how the people like the show now that it's shifted away from Askeladd. and more back into Thorfinn.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we'll
like,
see
yes,
if they like him as
Ascot
much.
did steal the show, but like overall, this is still a Thorfinn story.
Yeah.
It is Thorfinn's story, but like Asuka definitely was the star in season 1, and now
Yeah.
it's properly Thorfinn. So, I know a lot of people were not a big fan of Thorfinn the season 1 just because he was like whiny brat
Yeah.
mode.
But he's growing up
Yeah.
And
now.
now that he's there's a big spoiler. There's a big like time skip from season 1 to season 2. So
Yeah.
he's not like a brat anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
This is one of the most beloved manga of all time, so it's exciting that we're finally dude, it's been so long too since we got season 1.
It's been like 3 or 4 years.
yeah,
No kidding.
2019, 4 years? Yeah, that sounds
4
right.
years. Damn.
Which is crazy.
Well,
Uh,
it was like late 2019.
Also
Yeah,
glad
it's more
fall
like 3
2019.
years.
also glad that we are getting a 2-core again for this one. Well
Oh, we are.
deserved. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's too cool.
So
So it'll probably be the
Damn,
next
Mappa's got a
4
lot on their fucking
volumes.
plate.
yeah, I'm fine with them devoting more resources to this than the farming show though. And I think that about does it for the winter season of the first year, or of the first season of 2023. So, how are we feeling? How are we wrapping up on this one? How's everyone doing? Are we holding up?
God,
Well-
I'm so tired. There was so much fucking schlock.
Dude, I had doing the trailers for this one was demoralizing. I'm glad there are, I mean, like, this is what you have to do with seasonal anime. You really have to dig through it to find the stuff that's worthwhile. And there's some really interesting stuff scattered among here, but there are very few, like, oh, I'm excited to watch this highlights in a way that there typically are. So we'll see. Well, I think that the fun thing about seasons like this is discovering, like, something that ends up being way better than you expected. So hopefully there's some of
Yeah.
that.
I mean, like, from my like looking at the chart, like, the only shows I have written down are Buddy Daddies and then Tokyo Revenger season 2. Like, that is a
And
big
Vinland Saga?
jump in, like, well, no, and alphabetical order.
Oh, sure.
So like,
sure.
I had nothing between B and T.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So like, literally everything in between was just like torture to me. I'm like, oh, I don't really care much about these shows. Like, the only one that like really caught my attention from us doing this podcast is High Card.
Yeah.
Like, you guys bring that to my attention. I'm like, oh, that sounds really fun. Should we end with our top 3 most excited?
Let's do that.
Mhm.
I think we'll all leave out Vinland Saga because I think we're all gonna say that if we do.
Yeah, Vinland.
I want to just say no sequels.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Disregarding sequels, I'd say Buddy Daddies is definitely up there for me. High Card now, after being aware of it from the podcast. And Trigun Stampede, because I love Studio Orange, and I will follow them to the ends of the earth.
Very cool. Yeah, mine are gonna be pretty similar. I'm also gonna say Buddy Daddies and Trigun Stampede, much for the same reason as Juan. They seem really interesting. And Trigun Stampede's definitely the show easily I was looking the most forward to out of all of these. Aside from that, it's tricky. I'll go ahead and say the Princess and the Smart Girl fantasy one. That one is probably
The Yuri
most,
Bait show.
Yeah, the most up my alley. I'm at least curious to see what it's got going on.
So number 1 was Trigun Stampede. I'm very excited about that one. Number 2, I'm gonna give it to very tentatively to Mou Ippon. I like that one a lot in the pre-read. I'm kind of hopeful for it. And
the judo show.
Yeah, the judo show. And then the last slot I'm going to give, again, kind of tentatively to High Card. Those could both blow up in my face, but for right now, those are the ones that I'm just most looking forward to watching.
And for me, Trigun for sure. Between Buddy Daddy and High Card, I think I'll go with Buddy Daddy, just because it's more cohesive right now. And I was thinking about Tensei OG, the Yuri Princess one, but to be a little bit different from Chris, I'm gonna say Kubo-san.
Kubo-san.
So
the
Trigun Buddy,
the
Kubo.
teasing,
The mob one.
Yeah. I also kind of want to give a shout out to the Yuki Onna guy. Like, that one also kind of caught my interest during this podcast.
Which one?
The romantic, the office
Yuki
romantic
Onna.
comedy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, that one sounds really cute to me. Like, I want to check that out.
All right. Hey, they can't all be winners. They can't all be fall 2022. And
yeah, it's a hard act to follow.
And best case scenario is that we watch like 5 or 6 shows and then can catch up on backlog. Woohoo! But thanks for sticking around with us to the very end. This is probably going to be a really long podcast. Very sorry. I do have a bit of an announcement. We mentioned this last time. The Nut Bar official anime awards are happening. And we have a date for y'all this time. We are going to be doing it Friday, the 20th of January. So pretty soon, actually, after this is going to be coming out. Tentatively, probably around 7 or 8 p.m. Central Time. We don't have that locked down yet immediately. We have to wrangle some people. But join us. We've got like a million categories. We're going to rank everything. We're going to give out a bunch of awards. It's going to be wet. It's going to be wild. You don't want to miss
we're
it.
streaming it on Twitch, right? Twitch.tv/
We might be streaming it on Twitch and YouTube on our new Twitch channel, which I believe is the Nut Bar Podcast or just Nut Bar Podcast.
Yeah, we'll have it in the description.
It'll be there for you.
Is it just us 4 and Mark?
Yeah.
So
then
5.
So it'll be us 4 and then our friend Mark, and I will have the VOD up on YouTube pretty much immediately after we're done as well. So yeah, it'll be great. And with that, I think we're done with this episode. Hopefully y'all have fun checking out all the new stuff. We'll come back in a couple of weeks with our mid-season check-in, seeing how we're liking these shows, seeing what we're actually still watching, which I'm very curious about.
Yeah, we reviewed 39 of these shows in the preview. We're probably only going to talk about like 10 next time.
We'll see. But until then, we'll see you at the award show first, hopefully. And thanks for stopping by.
Logan, you want to give us a little joke real quick to turn it off?
I forgot what it. Bofuri these nuts!
Whoa! All right, bye.